What's up, nerds? We are here for another Paintisode because it's Friday night and we are bored and lonely and talking to each other across international borders to entertain ourselves while we paint little men. So far we have Mr. Maroc on the line with us. I have a few other potential guys coming in that are some staples of the community.
Better known. We'll go with better known.
Better known. I don't know. You are apparently very well known, and you just, you like to appear on other people's channels more than your own.
That's a fair statement, and makes complete sense in every way.
Yeah. The question is, why don't you put out more content?
Me, to be perfectly honest, my work schedule, even though it's like I'll work for 5 days and then I'm off for 4, and then I'll work for 5 days and then I'm off for 5. It's like my job destroys my body, and on my days off, I don't have the energy to do anything. Really. Like, I've been like forcing myself to put out more content lately. Like, there's been an influx.
I've had a couple of videos up anyway.
Yeah, and like, people seem to be enjoying the stuff that I'm putting out, and I'm going to try and continue the trend, but I'm not making any promises because, like me and Paul were talking about earlier, sometimes at my job you end up in the hospital, and it affects other things.
Yeah. So did you have like an enlightening experience with this particular episode?
No, I had more of a like, God damn it, this hurts so bad experience.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, well, when you get 600 volts go through your arm and your chest, it's not really pleasant of an experience.
Yeah. So you actually did not really tell me the story yet of how you did this to yourself.
Okay, so like, I'm a plating tankman. So we put like sheets of nickel into a giant like battery basically, and they turn up the electricity, and it's actually 9280, forget if it's amps, I don't know, but it's DC power, not AC power. So AC power is like your outlet at your house. DC power is a lightning bolt. So we take in AC power and convert it to DC power, which is direct current, and use that to plate nickel. So we were switching out, doing an anode change, which is these giant rocks that go in the tanks that dissolve and make nickel. So we were switching them out because there was the one was spent, and after putting the last one in the tank, I unhooked it from the, like, there's a production hook and a crane that we use to put everything, take everything in out of the tank and put stuff back in. So I unhooked or whatever and held onto the hook. And as my partner was hitting up with the crane, I got a shock that went through my hand and across my chest, and it actually like knocked me off of my feet, and I passed out for like 8 to 10 seconds, and then I got sent to the hospital. And yeah, it was not a good day. but I'm here. I'm all right. I survived. There are no issues. with my heart or whatever, so we are A-okay there. And
no permanent injuries that you're aware of?
No permanent injuries that I'm aware of. I probably won't know about until I'm much older. And so, yeah, we're just going to kind of ignore. Yeah, we're going to ignore and pretend that none of this ever happened. And we're just going to continue to paint miniatures like we normally would.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So,
we're just going to paint some minis like you didn't almost die today.
Yep. That's exactly what's going to happen. So moving on to the topic of painting miniatures, what are you working on there, buddy?
I am working on my Stormcast. I'm actually working on a very special Stormcast right now. I don't know if you had seen the video that I had picked up the Stormcast models from Lord Tremendous.
Yes, I did see that. Hey, Vince.
Evening,
Vince. Vincenzo.
You need to look at your email and or Twitter and or anything when I send you a message that says, please send a link to a different place.
My bad.
It's all good.
Yeah, it all only like goes to my phone, and yeah, that was not a thing that was in my face or on in like a way I could see. I apologize about that.
No problem at all. I see Ant already has a video responding to you, responding to me. I didn't get to watch it yet.
Love it. I would love to hear his perspective on this.
The circle of responses is always good.
I may have to respond to him responding to me, responding to you.
Sure. It's just going to go on forever while we all just crawl up our own, getting down this rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Good time.
Whatever hole you might happen to choose.
Sure. I mean, if you want, I'll send him the invite here, and he can give his response here live. I don't know if he's available or not.
I just do not have his contact information. So if you would like to invite him on, anyone is welcome. Anybody else out there in the audience? Well, we have 0 viewers at the moment, so that doesn't do us any good. But if anybody else happens to be out there that wants an invite, is always welcome.
So you were talking about this Lord Tremendous Stormcast that you're working on there?
Yeah. So I just love irony. So I saw Mr. Tremendous was giving up on 9th Age. I still watch some of his battle reports and all that because, he's an interesting guy to listen to. And I noticed, I remembered from his videos that he was like, yeah, these Stormcast models are actually really cool. So I'm going to use them as some stand-ins for my ogres. And I was like, he rage quit AOS so hard. I have to have those models now that he is like selling off his ogre army. So I am working on converting a Lord Celestant to be Lord Tremendous out of, a variety of bits and such to have the great Lord of Irony leading my army. And then a whole bunch of Liberators also that will be specially painted up to be like his personal guard.
Nice. I approve this message.
Yes. And so far, he's coming out pretty decently so far. I'm liking the conversion. I'm just to kind of like top it all off, he and his guard are all going to be painted up in the theme of Stormcast that are falling to Khorne.
Cool.
Yeah, so it ought to be fun. For those who get the joke, it'll be good. Otherwise, it's just kind of cool looking. Vince, you are awfully quiet over there, sir.
That's because I'm fighting with email. That's why. Because I was trying to get, like, for some reason, it would not copy the proper link. Because I had to pull it from Twitter, because you don't know how to send a link for a hangout to the right place. So, that's why I wasn't.
True fact.
But anyway.
Listen, I readily admit that I am basically like YouTube retarded. It's a miracle that I have this working right now at all. I don't know how to like get a chat room going for this. Someone's gonna have to get me a lesson on that at some point. Right now we're just gonna sit and shit and talk.
Yeah, that's fine. That's the fun of this. What's up, Tom? How you doing, sir?
Hey, folks.
How was the first episode?
Buddy.
It was very good. I enjoyed it.
I'm glad to hear it. I've heard mostly good responses, so I'm sure it's good.
First episode of what now?
Stranger Things.
Nice. I need to get on top of that.
Yes, the new season came out. So,
Well,
my wife and
actually what my wife is doing right now.
That's cool. If I wasn't joining this, I was going to be watching it as I was working. So,
my wife informed me that she wants to rewatch season 1 before we watch season 2.
okay.
And I'm about to be traveling for like 3 weeks straight, so I was like, well, I'm not watching that forever. So there you go. So I'm not going to be watching Stranger Things season 2 for quite a while.
Apparently not.
Yeah, which is fine. Whatever.
I heard.
I waited plenty long on the first one.
You traveling anywhere interesting?
No.
Vince doesn't get to do fun things.
I just travel. It's just a lot of work-related stuff. Nothing interesting.
So
fun.
What are you painting, Vince?
Oh, finishing up the last year.
Brutes.
Brutes. Yes, exactly. Yes, Tom knows, because it's the only thing I wasn't able to send down with his wife to meet me, because part of my travel overlaps very unfortunately with with Holy Havoc. So as a result, I'm going to have to fly to Chicago, and that means I can't take an army. So I had to send my army down to Tom, yes, who will take it down for me, which is very nice.
Yes, that is. It's good to have a friend that can do that for you.
Well, I mean, on the flip side, I am his partner in the team tournament. So if I don't have an army, he's kind of out of luck for the tournament. So
Also true.
he has some incentive to help me out here.
Should I be painting all the rivets on this board, Vince?
Nah, I thought about that. My answer is no.
Damn it! I've just started.
Well, it's fine. Then knock yourself out. I mean, whatever you want. Like it's fine. It's not like it would take that long. It's just you should just be putting a dot of pale burnt metal on every rivet.
I feel
I was
like
doing bright silver.
Whatever, that's fine.
I feel like rivets should be like dead last, like after everything.
Well, I think
Like-
they are. I think this is the home stretch question here.
Yeah.
Well, no, yes. Like, so I can't paint the things that I need to paint right now because then I can't be on camera. Like, I'm going to be upstate because the board's so big. Like, I can't just lean over and paint it. I have to stand and walk around the table.
That thing
And
is
so
unbelievably annoying to paint.
It is.
But
I really kind of wish that I had painted the decking and all that before I put it on. But then,
hindsight's 2020, my friend.
that presents its own problems because I couldn't do big broad spraying and a bunch of other things like that.
Yeah.
So there's just it was a lose-lose. Like, I had to pick my poison, and I made the decision that I made, and we're moving on.
Yeah. I had the same problem when I was doing bits and pieces of my Mordheim table. It's like, well, I really wish I didn't attach that. But then you hadn't attached it, it wouldn't have looked right. Like when you were doing the Zenithal and everything.
Yep. Yeah, my other big problem was that a lot of my things are embedded into the mountainside, which is that's what you need to do. You embed it in and then you paste around it. But then I primed it after that.
Yeah.
And so
Being stuck between a rock and a hard place. You can't win.
I've got a great solution. Are you ready for that?
Shut up. Don't do boards.
Correct. Let's have display boards just die already.
Hey, I enjoy my display board.
Yeah?
You don't sound like you're enjoying your display.
Oh,
board.
I'm enjoying my display board.
Would you have enjoyed it as much if I wasn't there to do that part of it and you had to do all of it part yourself?
Realistically, yeah, I'd have been fine. Like I hate to say, like I don't want to sound cavalier. Just like my lava base came out well enough. Like I could have done the lava. That's not an issue.
Oh, I didn't say it was a matter of skill. Just a matter of extra time. I told you from the beginning you could have done it.
Yeah,
that was never in question.
Yeah, I know.
You asked me, can I do this? I said yes, and you said, well, I'm going to send it to you anyways. I said fine.
Yeah, like, and my reasoning for that was just simply like I needed a break. I've been pounding away at this thing like every single day for 3 weeks now, and I needed somebody else to put some hands on it.
So is this going to be part of like a bigger board like later on, or? Well,
that's the question, isn't it? The answer is I don't know. I kind of want it to be at this point.
It looks pretty fantastic, and I think you should do that.
Yeah, like I thought about making a 4x4 skirmish board out of it.
Yeah.
And doing like the other pieces being like large mountain things. So like have part of a hill, like a actual like city up on a hill, like having one more low board that's lava, and then have the two other halves being like a huge hillside, like with a city like built into the hill with the deckings then coming out and stuff like that.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Yeah, I don't know. Like storage would be a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
Like because like this, like even this thing, like I'm not sure where it's probably going to go in my refrigerator over there, but then I don't know where all my Dwarven Forge stuff is going. So I don't know. That's the point. So
I've got a suggestion on your Dwarven Forge.
Yeah.
Shut up.
eBay?
Yeah.
Oh, that's much more generous than I was going to be.
Well, the reality is this: like the Dwarven Forge stuff, I was going to get rid of it. Like that was the plan. And then my kids were like, "No, we love it," and I'm like,
Couldn't you like use some of that stuff for like basing material?
No, like I could, but I don't want to. Like,
right.
What if you gave it to Vince to use as basing material? Would it then be appropriate?
No, because my kids want it.
I mean, if he gave it to me, I'd keep like 4 sections of it and literally just throw the rest in the trash.
I hate you.
That's how little I care about that or find value in that. I would throw it out without a moment's hesitation. His children could be there screaming and crying while I was doing it. In fact, I'd video it happening and then send it to them.
You are a very dark person underneath the painting veneer.
Thank you.
The painted veneer, yes.
I have a very important question for you right now, Vince. Do you need a hug?
No, I'm fine.
Do you need a hug?
No.
No, I'm a happy
You
guy.
seem like you need a hug.
Oh, I'm good.
No, so here's the funny thing. Like Vince, like I love him to death, and I've known him forever. But like when we started this whole YouTube thing, I was like, people don't know who you are.
Well, and I mean, there's I suppose there's some truth to that, but I mean, that's not all true. Like I am who I say I am. I don't know that I really have like any huge delta in my personality. I am a generally positive, happy person. Like that is true.
That's true. Yes.
Like my opinions I express about Warhammer in this game are all legitimate. Absolutely legitimate. I've never put out a false opinion ever. Okay.
I agree with that.
Yeah. The difference is I don't talk about other things, right? I keep myself to only gaming. Like if you want to, that's one of the reasons I love Warhammer so much. It's that rarefied thing I can be happy and positive about all the time because it's a wonderful, fun, engaging, community building, fantastic thing full of joy and rainbows that in general provides me 95% positiveness and, maybe occasionally a little bit of clouds, but for the most part, it's great. Not everything else in life is like that.
Completely agree with you.
Get him talking about the human race.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it's not like I'm presenting some sort of false persona. It's just I'm talking about a thing I am uniquely positive about.
Yes. Let's not talk about the human race.
Nah, seems unfortunate.
Yeah.
If we want to talk about like little plastic dollies, I'm down with that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, let's talk about how I have like into Twitter and very quickly, started adding a whole bunch of people, and then very quickly started unfollowing people for their political posts.
Yes. Well, that's gotta
Twitter,
take it.
Only for the wargaming. That is it.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't
Agreed.
like who I follow. I never like. I don't agreed. I mean, I generally try to. I have a luxury. It's a luxury to keep politics out of your life. But that being said, I generally don't see much on my feed. I mean, I have a careful feed that is mostly focused on miniature painting and wargaming. So, the
only
go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. The only time that I ever see like anything even semi-political is when like Mitch retweets like a comment he made on like Donald Trump's page or whatever. That's like the only time.
Sure. Oh, Mitch.
But at any rate, I mean, for the most part, I just have to. All my nightmares on Twitter have nothing to do with politics and everything with waking up and worrying about what Tom has done.
Said.
Correct. Yes. That's my nightmare on Twitter right there.
Oh God, what has Tom done?
What has he done now?
So Vince is like basically Tom's like damage control guy.
Yes.
Yep.
He is the PR person.
That's hilarious.
What's the name of that group? Is it Damage Control or is it? I'm trying to think. The Marvel group.
Superhero. That's Damage Control.
Yeah, there you go. Yes,
They got a name check in the Spider-Man Homecoming.
Right. Yeah, I'm that group. They're funnier in the comics than they were in that series, but or in
no, they didn't actually show up in the series.
I thought that's what the government group that was named or whatever.
No, so the government that came in, that like Tony Stark was in control of, like he had been part of, like they've been contracted as Damage Control, but we never actually met any of those folks.
But we were in the Damage Control warehouse. That's where Spider-Man like got stuck for a long time.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Anyway, I always liked them in the comics. They made me laugh. The people who clean up after superhero fights is a very funny concept to me.
Yeah, that does seem like that would be an awesome comic book.
Yeah, because it's all just like the aftermath stuff, and it was so like mundane a lot of the times as they get swept into this nonsense, and just all they're trying to do is like sweep up the streets, as it were.
Literally sweep up the streets,
erasing memories.
Much like my one of my favorite moments in the what anime was that? The animated series or was it a comic? I don't even remember anymore. My God, it's all bled together. But there's a great moment in one. There's a moment where you come in and Batman and Superman are fighting a bunch of costumed thugs, and they're just having a conversation as they're fighting. Like Superman and Batman are just casually talking as they're taking apart these costume thugs, and they're just sort of talking about like life. And just like having a friendly conversation as they're beating people up. And and Superman says, "What did these guys do again?" And Batman's like, "I think they were trying to take over the world or maybe rob a bank. I don't know. It's not really important." And I always found that to be like, that was such a wonderful, mundane moment. Like this is their daily life. It's become such a rote sort of adventure that these normal villains, these gods, don't even worry about it anymore. You know what I mean? Like it's just not relevant.
I don't know. It's just a pack of thugs. Like they're dressed funny.
Right. Exactly. They were beating someone up or stealing something or whatever. That always made me laugh. So, but yes. Oh, these guys are coming along nicely.
Beautiful. At first, Vince, I was a little bit skeptical about the blue armor on the orcs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, once I saw it on the pigs, like, I was like, it just makes the detail on the pigs pop so much with the contrast. Or maybe that's just my eyes. I don't know.
Blue.
Really cool after I saw the pigs.
Well, thank you. I mean, look, Blue is the strongest color. It's there's a reason why the sky is blue and your belly button lint is blue. It's the exact same reason, because blue is the most impactful to your eye. It's the strongest sort of wavelength. So, it grabs you.
It grabs you by the cojones.
That's right. But yeah, I generally like, blue, green, teal, turquoise. These are my colors. It's where I live. So hence why I'm doing, basically like minty green orcs with blue armor, which is the wrong color choice, by the by.
We had this conversation.
Yeah, it's not the color of my orcish skin is incorrect for the choice of the armor, according to the color wheel. I am not color theory says I'm choosing wrong, but I don't care.
We had a very long conversation about this. I wanted him to do orange skinned orcs,
which would have been the right answer.
That would have been really cool, but
that's what I was pushing him for. Yep.
But I wanted to do this minty green, so I did the color I want, because in the end they're my army and I have to play with them. Now, if I was doing them for competition or something, sure, I would have done orange, because yes, that would have been the correct choice. But here we are. I'm not. They're for me and for me to like and enjoy and play with. So I will do that. Did you start Ant's video? Is that what you did there?
I just load it up to see if there's anything interesting in the description of it.
Sure.
But there isn't.
I can hear. I know Ant's voice well enough that literally hey guys, I thought one time about doing a video where I impersonated everybody's openings and closings if they have them. Because most people have some kind of thing that they open or close with, right? And a particular voice that they do it with. And I thought it'd be funny to do a supercut of me impersonating everybody else.
What's up, nerds?
Sure. I mean, Paul has one. And yes.
I mean, you've got to be identifiable. You're going to have a brand.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got one.
I don't.
Do I have a brand?
You don't have any video.
Yeah, you gotta have more videos to have a brand. Your brand is being my foil. That's your brand.
Is being a mooch off of everybody else's channels.
Sure.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's exactly what it is. I put out quite a few videos actually in the last little while. Thank you very much.
You have.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm a mooch, not you.
Not him.
Oh.
Yeah, not you. Him. Sorry.
Yes.
I don't think you're not. I don't know. Honest to Christ, Tom, I have still gone back and rewatched your piling in video 3 or 4 times. So the stuff that you have put out is super useful. So don't sell yourself short on that.
There you go, Tom. You made one good video. Congratulations.
Thanks.
You can.
And the reality is,
stop while you're ahead. That's what I say.
The reality is that I just want to flood the airwaves with dumb videos. There's a lot of those, present company excluded sometimes.
I will admit to some of my videos are stupid.
I don't know. I thought about it and I'm I could just spam and I don't know.
No, that sounds like a convenient excuse for somebody who, just out of creative ideas. I get it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
That's obviously what this is.
That's what I heard you just say.
Honestly, I think you could do a whole sort of the competitive mindset.
I actually have a video series that I would do if I had the time, which is a a mastering the meta style. And every video I would look at a single current army in the meta, talk about strengths and weaknesses of that army, how to play that army effectively, and how to break that army.
See,
how to defeat it. Yeah.
I get that, but I think painting it in a broader stroke people would find more useful. I don't know, how do I explain this? I don't know, weird things movement things, things ways to move your units in different formations that can cause like different shenanigans for your opponent, like stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and I had started to do something that with like that the tactics video. That the idea there was to do more broader things that weren't army specific. Yep. No,
Yeah.
I'm aware of it, and it's something that like I think there's a need for it. But then like AOS Tactics, and there was a number of other like blogs and stuff like that that was doing similar stuff, and I liked what they were doing, and so I didn't have a lot.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Not everybody reads blogs. People are lazy. They don't like to read. So like for you to make a video instead would be like.
I'm not going to discount that. I mean, I'm not gonna rebut what you just said because I don't disagree, is what I would say. And I think that oftentimes people find videos and listening to videos a lot more helpful.
Plus, like you had the last one you did there had like diagrams and stuff, and it's easier to show people in that way. Yep. You know what I mean? Like,
yep, I do.
Yeah, and I've got to also say, just from the pure laziness standpoint, that I often don't listen to podcasts just because they require more effort to go find them. Like, I have to like go to your podcast website or something like that. I have to like search it out. YouTube videos, it's like, oh, right there. Oh, Tom just posted a video.
Yeah, you're making things up now because I don't post videos.
Well, you know, on a rare occasion.
No, I mean, I quite to the contrary of what Vince just said, I actually do have quite a bit of content ideas. They just take time. And you know what? I don't want to put that kind of effort into it. Like, if I'm going to invest that time hobby direction-wise, I'm going to spend it on, like, painting armies.
Yep.
Or playing.
that is fair.
See, now you're not giving a nonsense excuse. I support that. I was just putting a halt to your nonsensory of I don't want to just flood. I'm doing this for the good of the world by not creating another video. That's what I'm doing. Yeah, behold my beneficence. Get out of here with that nonsense. I don't want to take the time because I've got a lot of stuff going on. Frankly, there's no time for that kind of, because I've got no time for it in my life. Hey, cool. Rock on, man. Valid. Super great. No pushback now or ever. It is a time-consuming thing, and you got a lot on your plate. So that I got no issue with. I was only pushing back against your silliness.
Oh.
I have found like an easier way of doing battle reports, so I think that like helps. But like, it's still like quite a bit of work to actually go through, like, especially when you're playing a game, like you don't want to hold up your opponent or anything like that. You don't want to be a dick and like, wait, hold on, stop. I got to take a picture. It's like,
do you have 3 Sigmarite mausoleums in the background there, or is that 2?
You can't see anything, Vince. There's nothing there. Yeah, there is 3. I needed a lot of parts for my Mordheim table. So
clearly,
yeah.
My problem right now is I'm taking with like the idea of board building, and this is a problem for my army projects.
So you should. Well, what I have found, like right now, which is really helping me, is that I've got my Chaos Werewolf army or whatever. So I've been painting bits and pieces of that, and then my wife's got her Alice in Wonderland themed like death army. So I'm working on that as well. And then like I just find that it's really easy, that it's like, man, I am so tired of painting this crap right now, just to switch gears and move over to like, so I got sick of the werewolves. So right now I'm painting the Red Queen, which is this converted Neferata 40K fig. And then when I get bored of this stuff, I'll just switch to the Mordheim board and I'll start painting on that. So like, just to alternate things and keep it fresh.
Yeah. Unfortunately, on my current painting schedule, like I have jam-packed my next like 3.5 to 4 months of painting. Like I'm full. Like I am on a rigid schedule to get stuff done. So
I'm gonna say that is impressive to just like have it scheduled out, like have the discipline.
well, it's what keeps me moving. Does that make sense? Like otherwise, because I know I will luxuriate and I'll be like, oh, I'll just do a model, and then I get like a base painted, and I'm like, oh, I'm done for the night. But if I know,
I came to a realization about the framework and architecture of your entire personality, Tom.
Me?
Yeah,
oh,
you.
Okay. Oh boy. Okay.
And I came upon this as I was working on that board.
Yes.
Okay. That's what it's been something that's gnawed at the edge of my consciousness, like the Langoliers for a long time, but it finally crystallized when I was working on that board for us. Okay.
That I need motivation.
No. That you like printable, exact, followable, measurable process. That you draw a great amount of psychological satisfaction, let's say it that way, from that. And what I mean is I realized as you were sort of asking me questions, as you've been doing, various elements of this board, I'll say, just do something like this. And you're like, wait, like you'll keep drilling down until I spell it out quite exactly, right? Like step 1, do this, then to this, and exactly this way at this angle, blah, 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 blah. Step 2, do exactly this, like this, step 3. Whereas I don't think like that. So it's hard for me to put it in those terms. What did I do to the metal on the board? I looked at the metal for a little while and thought about what I thought realistic metal would look like. And then I got out a bright steel and dry brushed, and then a brighter steel and dry brushed. And then I got out oil paints and just started like stabbing it with my brush randomly. Then I mixed some purple in and did the same. Then I mixed some black in and did the same, just touching it wherever I felt like it every time. Then I grabbed some white spirits and kind of smoothed things around. Then I grabbed some inks and just kind of threw some crap around there. Then I saw an interesting angle that I could take up in one part of the board. So I kind of played with that for a little while. Then I got out some pigments and started going crazy with that and mixing those in. And like, I just kept going back and forth. And when I saw something that would catch my fancy, I would just do it. Like actually telling you how to do that, like putting those instructions in, I wouldn't even have the foggiest notion.
Because there's an intuitive element. There's an intuitive aspect to what you're doing when you're painting. Is you're feeling out like what you want as you go. And for me, that's not how my brain processes information. Yeah. It's just I want something that is reproducible. I want something that is because it has to do with expectation. For me, expectation is a really big deal, and I think we've talked about this before. Like, and so if I'm investing a certain direction, I want it to look a certain way. I want it to produce a certain effect, and I'm just not interested in going into projects like that blindly. Like, I want it, yeah,
that's understandable. Like, I'm in the same boat as Vince. Like, I got asked to do that tutorial on the ice bases that I've been doing for my Chaos Army, and like to actually go through and like I just ended up videotaping it and doing it at 2x speed and talked over like what I was doing, because I could not like explain what I was doing as I was doing it, because it was just a lot of like, well, this needs a more light tone blue. Like I was just mixing paints on the fly and like throwing it at the wall and hoping that it would stick. And like, it just, some people, that's how their minds work, and other people need like the structured, here's the instructions deal.
Yeah, and I would say that like, it's not that I don't know where I'm going. So it's not that, you know, it's not that I'm just like intuiting the whole thing. But that being said, it's about not having necessarily a set way to get there.
Yeah, like you know exactly where you're going. You just don't know the directions to get there.
Yeah, I'm going the right direction, but maybe not the specific directions. Yes.
Yeah.
So the interesting thing about this is, to jump back to a prior conversation, one of the challenges I have is that I would want to do, like, I've thought about doing this as a full board.
Right.
But can you immediately see my problem with that idea?
Is it you?
Because you would want to build all the pieces at once, spray them all at once,
and I would want
and
reproducibility.
paint.
So whatever Vince
Exactly.
has done here for weathering or lava, I want it to all be the same. Because I want it to look right. And if there's any like discontinuity there, it will drive me insane. Like I will look at that and go, that's not right. And like it doesn't matter how well it's painted individually, if it's not in accord, then like it'll just straight bother me.
Sounds like you got some hang-ups, man.
I clearly do.
Sounds like you got like that OCD shit going on over there.
Might want to see a therapist about that.
You have to clap before you open the door.
No. I just like things to be right.
Yeah, that is a defining characteristic of obsessive compulsive disorder.
How do you get through life? Like, if you need everything to be right, like I don't know how you get up in the morning.
Well, because as usual, we only sync that to certain elements, right?
I guess.
You know, for
it has
example,
to do with expectation. Like, let me just drive back to that. Like, if
yes,
I
I'm
have
sure
my
Tom doesn't hold
expectations-
the same expectations of his kids, who are chaos incarnate often.
Right. But what I'll say is this: like, they do test my limits, like in a very real way that they don't with my wife. About like my own sanity, and I don't mean that lightly. Like, I love my children, but the reality is that the way that I'm wired, they push the boundaries of what I find acceptable.
Sure. And by the way, just to clarify for anybody who would watch, that's not me bagging on Tom's kids or saying Tom has bad kids. He doesn't. He actually has quite good kids. They're just kids. They are young children. So all children are by their very nature are chaotic little beings.
Oh yeah,
it's like moving into a house. It's like living with a fae.
Yeah. Mischievous.
Yes, that is a great description. So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. So, I am at home with me on this journey, and I know like how I tick and how I get projects done. I mean, yeah.
Sure, but to then return back to Paul's point, that is one of the reasons he is able to operate like he does, right? Is because once he has that process down, there's a certain large psychological reward to Tom for repeating that process and carrying it out in that fashion.
Yeah.
Like that reproducibility is actually positive utility for me. That's not drudgery. That's actually success.
Right.
Yeah.
That
so that
complete sense, yeah.
And so that when I start painting like large armies, I can actually like paint the same scheme over and over and over again and hold two models that I may have painted 6 to 8 months apart, and they look like I painted them back to back.
Yeah. So interesting fact about me, while we're on this subject, I actually have obsessive compulsive disorder.
Awesome.
So I actually completely understand where you're coming from.
Well, I don't have it because that would mean that I'm broke. No, I'm just kidding.
No, it's just a matter of how much the anxiety associated with it actually disrupts your life.
Right. No, it's a real thing. Like, and yeah.
Yeah, it just feels good to make something correct.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's actually not, like, it is that, but it's not really that. Like, I don't know how to say this. Like, I want my painting to be a mindless process.
Fair
like,
enough.
I want my painting to be, because painting to me is the equivalent of the adult color book movement. Okay? Like, that movement is about relaxation and about like being able to disengage and find like rest and respite in those processes of just like filling in the boxes.
Zen.
And so that's what this is for me.
You're looking for that Zen moment, is what you're.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't want to have to think about my scheme. I don't have to think about like what color needs to go here. I want to just figure out what my scheme is, know how to reproduce it, and then just reproduce it and enjoy the Zen experience of painting.
Yeah. Well, didn't Uncle Adam do a video just recently on like meditation and painting?
Yes, he did.
And I thought that was fantastic. After that, I've actually started combining meditation and painting, and having some nice, meditative sort of music on in the background while I paint. Have some, maybe a candle lit, and I'm getting into a nice little, fun spiritual space here. But can paint some happy little trees while we, center ourselves while we paint.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest, like, I've talked about it before, and I'll briefly mention again, like, painting was a big deal for me in handling the stress on the, on the other side of losing a kid.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And so it's, like, it in a very real way serves a stress-reducing function. I make decisions every day, like, I have lots of stressful things, different than the stresses that a lot of other people do with their work and stuff like that. Not saying that they're worse, but they're just different. And this is something that allows me to just completely decompress. So
I feel you, buddy. Painting has painting, converting, all that stuff has gotten me through some tough times too. It's a great way to just escape into something else, and it's better than falling into like the bottom of a bottle instead, or insert drug, whatever here.
A bottle. I have a bourbon cream upstairs calling.
Sudden.
Yeah. I have some bourbon cream upstairs calling my name right now.
Gross.
Awesome.
Agreed.
It's Kentucky, land of the bourbon.
Kentucky, the bourbon.
Sure. Yeah, I've seen Kingsman. I understand.
So yeah, nice light discussion. What armies are you guys concepting up? Is anybody thinking about future armies, or is that just me?
Don't do this to me, Tom.
Like, don't get me wrong. I have 100 projects going right now, but I'm not gonna. I would be lying if I wasn't looking at Khorne lists today. Like, that happened.
Like I actually, so I've got my Skin Wolf list, right? Like, that's all.
Yep.
Like, models are bought, stuff's done for that.
Yep.
So I bought like 30 Chaos Warriors, right?
Yep. I like where your head's at.
Okay. And I built Bringer and a Blood Secretor out of spare Reaver parts and stuff.
Yep.
And I was looking at some Khorne lists, and there's some pretty ridiculous things you can do with Chaos Warriors.
Yeah, you were.
And there's some pretty ridiculous crap in there. That's what I'll say. I got to figure out how I'm going to convert Mom Miniatures Chaos Warriors into some type of wolf thing.
Yeah.
Theme.
Hey, have you used any of the Wrath of Kings models? Would those heads work?
I hate the Wrath of King miniatures.
Okay.
With a passion that burns with the fire.
Hey, I'm not gonna defend them. I just didn't know if their bits would work, like the head bits.
No, I've got a box of the Gravity and Nazir, whatever, the stupid masks.
Yep.
And
the bunny models.
The wolf heads are ogre size, so they're a touch.
Oh, yeah.
And the how would I describe these? So like
They're floppy or they're melted.
no, they're soft. Like
Yeah.
the detail in them is super soft. Like it's not.
Hey, I backed the Kickstarter, so I know, and I
Yeah.
actually had the models in hand. So I mean, I do know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Like I
they're.
sent a bunch Vince's way.
Yeah, I actually did too.
Yeah.
You're welcome, Vince.
Thanks.
Yeah, I've got to say, after seeing a particular Khorne list, I think yesterday, I was like, well, I immediately regret selling all my Khorne warriors.
Yeah.
Which list?
They're good.
It was the one with, I think it was one that Tyler Emerson posted from one of his events or events he was associated with. That was like,
Was it Jacob Berlickson's sale list with 30 Blood
Yeah.
Warriors? Yeah.
yeah,
How did he do?
he got some sort of consolation prize. It wasn't
So he
like
placed high. I need to reach out to Reverend Dangles, which is Jacob. He sent me a message about 2 weeks before the event because he wanted me to look over the list and just kind of give him some feedback because it was a modified version of my sale list that he ran, which using the Chaos Warrior, like shoving a big block of buffed Chaos Warriors forward with like 30 Blood Warriors as a consolation backup, and then like a bunch of like just ridiculous buff stuff. And it was it was a fun list. And I'm glad that he did well with it. That's exciting.
Yeah, I was immediately like, oh, so, right, Khorne marked Chaos Warriors, Blood Secretor, Blood Stoker, Sail, 6-inch charge, 3 attacks each.
Well, no,
Maybe
it's not
get
even
off
that.
the
It's a 5-inch charge.
on them.
Because it's 3 from the Blood Secretor, and the Chaos Warriors inherently have a +1 from their musician. So they have +4 to their charges.
He won best sport.
Oh, is that it? Oh, I wonder where he placed.
To paraphrase him, apparently, if you lose with a sail-based horde army, it's all good. So I'm guessing he lost enough that people voted him best sports. So there you go.
Oh,
That's
I will say openly that much love to him for this list. I have no issue with it whatsoever. I told Tom straight up I didn't think that list had any gas in the engine, but there we are.
yeah, and you were right. My pushback was that I think the misstep in the list personally was the 30 Blood Warriors. Like I know that he had them and he wanted to put them on the table, and I get it, but I think that was the misstep. I think he should have went with Knights, like Chaos Knights, and he could have done Chaos Knights and then mixed in like another horde of like Marauders or Blood Reavers, and then the Knights he could have teleported as well and would have had a great charge. So it could have been like a late round or an early round Alpha Strike. You know, like it would have been. I think there would have been flexibility there.
Yeah, or even just a second block of Chaos Warriors. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, like I would be lying to you if I hadn't already cooked up a Nurgle list with two of my blocks of Chaos Warriors to throw around the table. In a one drop Nurgle army looking at Adepticon, like I considered it.
Yeah.
Have any of you tried the Chaos? Oh, what the fuck is this thing called? Godsworn Champions of Ruin.
Yeah,
Italian note?
Yeah, I used it at NashCon.
At NashCon, Vince did.
That's where you issue a challenge or whatever, and.
Yeah. How much did you use that, Vince?
Well, I mean, I got it off a few times, but I mean, it was a good drop control mechanism in that. And keep in mind, I mean, it was much cheaper then, right?
Yeah, it's 160 points now. Like it was
60
I mean,
previously,
right? At 60 points, it felt like a really great choice for just drop control, right? And like that ability is pretty gravy. It's not going to trigger super often, but it triggered a couple times in the tournament, and it was fine when it happened. Like, yay, an extra attack. Like, okay, cool. I'm not gonna argue with that. Like, it's fine. But again, at 60 points, I didn't need it to do much more than occasionally work and lower my drop number.
So it lets you attack in the hero phase if you're within 3 inches of an enemy hero or monster, which is cool. And like I'm thinking like the Lord of Chaos on foot combined, like marked Khorne combined with a Blood Secrator and an aspiring Deathbringer.
Right, getting him into place is going to be your problem. Getting him where you need him to be.
It's not actually that hard. Like he may only have like a 5-inch move, but like his base isn't very big. Like
no, it's true.
He can move in behind guys, around dudes, and like
I'm just saying, getting him across the table is the concern.
Correct. He's a tiny dude on foot.
Yeah, and so like you almost have to sail teleport him to actually put him where you want him to be.
Yeah. But I mean that fucking one attack that does 2d6 damage is pretty sweet. Like,
yep, it's a great late game surprise. There's no question about that. Yeah, Vince and I talked about so when in my various Nurgle lists, that was one of the things was that he had found a way into a couple of the lists specifically because of that ability. Because there's just enough high priority targets.
Right.
That like nobody's going to pick him off until suddenly he comes up and like bites somebody in the,
And he's only 100 points. Like,
yep,
100 points for 6 wounds, 4 up save. Like he's got -2 rend on that weapon too. Like let's not forget that. Like that's pretty decent.
Yeah, I mean, I like him just fine. I don't know that I like that Godsworn Champions anymore, to be honest. Like at 60, I was a buyer. At 160,
No, I mean, like the reality is that 160, almost every day of the week, the ever chosen battalions will beat it out.
Beat it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know. It's just my problem with the ever chosen battalions is that they require too many units because I need to fit my skin wolves into the list, right?
Yep.
So like,
and they're mortal, but they can't be marked. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they have the Monsters of Chaos keyword now, so you can add them as allies if you want to. Fuck you, GW.
Hey, they gave you that. You're lucky you got that. You knew what you were doing.
Or want that.
You knew what you were doing when you picked that army.
Yep.
That is absolutely true. I did.
Yeah. Don't be like if you were picking like some mainline thing and you get screwed, all right, I might be partially that. But you decided to expand like 2 models from Forge World into an army. You get what you get and you like it.
It's not 2 models. It's technically 3. There's 3 different skulls.
I was being over.
You know what I actually like to see though, like genuinely like to see is a Skinwolf hero.
Yeah, well,
like they don't need to like.
I don't know if you're going to get the Furmir treatment.
I think they should though.
I think a lot of people are waiting for an X hero in insert faction here. I think that's something a lot of people want for a lot of different factions.
You know what I want? A 60-point hero in Fire Slayers.
Like I don't even care what his friggin' points cost would be. Like I really couldn't care less. I just want a Skinwolf hero because I think it would fit with the narrative of the army. Like every pack's got an alpha male, right? Like
sure. I mean, what I'll say is, Tom, you're out of your mind. Let me just start there. And then secondly, on a long enough timeline, every fantasy game eventually does something with werewolves. So, you just got to wait them out.
True.
You'll be fine.
No, like, I know mine's a pipe dream. Like,
Look
don't
how
get me
many
wrong.
years it took Magic to get around to doing werewolves in a set. So many. But they got there eventually.
That said,
They had
Vince,
to get the transformation mechanic down.
Yes.
That said, Vince, I think I have hope in the may not be a hero, but I may get a 60-point unit in the Fire Slayer Shadespire warband.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
Oh, because you think that warband will be that cheap or whatever?
Yeah, because it's a bunch of Volkites, and there's not going to be a lot. The real big question there is it looks like it's being led by a Rune Father, who is a hero, like in the actual game.
I would. Like, I mean, if it was, it would be the one then breaking with the normal
Right.
thing, because all the other ones are just led by dudes.
By the champion of the unit. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do with it. But I'm hoping that little mini pack is only 60 points. You see that the Iron Jaws one leaked, or it was
It
released?
didn't leak; it was released. But yes, I did.
I
so
did not see.
they were not 180 points, Vince.
I know, that's what's exciting about it.
The only one that I really want to see and that I'm like actually excited for is to see the Clan Eshin stuff.
It's Verminous, not Eshin.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
That just ruined like everything. Thank you.
Sorry,
Vince, the ruiner of everything.
pretty much. I accept. Sorry, but yes, it is. It is going to be Verminous, not Eshin.
That is
I know.
decidedly unfortunate.
Well, look, who cares? The point is that like if we keep getting enough half releases, eventually we'll accidentally have an actual Eshin army. I can put a new plastic Eshin army together out of like
Blood Bowl stuff.
Blood Bowl stuff and a Shadespire Warband and the Death Runner, and yeah, I've just got to slowly piece it together out of like 8 different sets, but I'll eventually have an entire plastic Eshin army. It's
Like,
a long-term plan. Look, Clan Eshin, how do they work? It's a slow, careful plan. You wait in the shadows for the moment, then you strike. You see, so it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Patience is a virtue.
I understand.
So here's a question for you guys.
Shoot.
Do you think that any of the AOS War Scrolls for the Shadespire Warbands are going to be like competitive level use, or are they going to all be like rule of cool, awesome fluff, fun unit to use for more casual games?
The Reavers are pretty good.
If they are competitive in the way that they will be a hole filler. And what I mean by that is exactly what I said with the Fire Slayers. I would love to have an 80-point, or a 60-point rather, a 60-point Fire Slayer unit that I can slot in, because I have in a number of lists, I end up having the 60-point window that I don't just want to fill with something stupid. I actually want something. Like, yeah, but that's the problem. The Grifthound is one model for 40 points. I either want a hero, or I want something that I can actually like count towards total models taking a point. And like if I got like a Fire Slayer unit of like 4 models for 60 points, I'm going to take that. Because nobody's going to shoot at it unless they're trying to clear a point. And at that point, then like the rest of my lines have failed, you know? But it'll help me, you know, cap points and hold points and all that stuff. So
Yeah, I mean, my answer would be I think the Reaver one is competitive-ish.
yeah.
Yeah, I think the Stormcast one like maths out to be better than regular Liberators. So I think if you're in a position where you have a Stormcast list and you have like a spare 100 points, it might be an option to throw those guys in.
The problem is that they're not battle line.
Yeah, and all of the stuff that like all of the battalions reference, they don't reference keyword Liberators. They all reference
named Liberators. That's disappointing. Because that would be the other option, would be to jump on the fact that they're Liberators, so they qualify for certain battalions. But if
that was like the first thing that I looked at. I like immediately went to the book and I was like, not keyword bold, not keyword bold, not keyword bold, not keyword bold. They certainly did not plan for this shit.
I mean, maybe not. I mean, I don't know. That's assuming a bit of facts, not in evidence. My argument would be maybe they fully intend it not to take the place of a normal set of Liberators. They are not a normal set of Liberators. They are 3 named heroes.
3 named, like a regiment of renown.
Yeah,
they're not
like,
named heroes.
They're heroes within the world of Shadespire. You know what I mean? Sure. Hero in the non-game rule sense. I'm not sure it does make sense for those guys to be battle line or to fill the same spots in battalions. Again, if you told me they did, it's not like I'm going to lose my mind over it. Like, I don't particularly care either way. But, I mean, again, I wouldn't assume that they didn't know what they were doing when they decided not to do that. Because if they wanted to, and even knowing that, it would have been just as easy to just put on the war scroll like they did for, say, Vandus or other people rules to how they interact with battalions. Like, they've already shown in the past that they know how to, that they are not afraid to do that. So, I mean, again, feels more like an intentional choice to me.
Could be.
I don't disagree.
But I mean, ultimately, yes. I think the Stormcast one has less use than the Reaver one, just because I don't know what that unit is doing. Yes, the Reaver one is fine. It can do some good stuff for what it is, and it's still 5 dudes.
Yeah, and it fills 60 points.
Correct.
And that dude, if he gets some buffs, can throw out some mortal wounds from a very unexpected
the main guy
source.
the main guy is actually, like, pretty potent. And as you mentioned, he's effectively equating to a 5 wound hero, right? Because he's got sort of
the other bodies to protect
he's got the other bodies to protect him, yeah.
And you buff the unit with +1 to hit, and then suddenly he's mortal wounding on lower numbers. He starts out with 3 base attacks, so he could it's pretty easy to pump him higher.
Oh yeah, sure.
I mean, like, by default they get 1 more.
Yeah.
And then if there's a war shrine, they get another one, and yada yada.
Yep.
Blood's greater, get another one.
So my argument would be he's as of what I've seen so far, he's the one that jumps out to me as a possibility. The Orc one was fine. It didn't particularly grab me. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah, it was actually Khorne that I was looking at today. Like a true Khorne Bloodbound.
Sure. I mean, right now the powerful, certainly they've got some very good things going on. Great synergies. Priest's prayers are still ridiculously good right now for the next probably 9 to 11 months.
Well, you know what actually grabbed my attention?
What's that?
You're gonna laugh about this.
I'm ready. I'm ready to chuckle.
Fleshhounds.
Heck yeah! You don't have to sell me on that. Fleshhounds are good, yo.
Fleshhounds. Like, when was the last time you guys read Fleshhounds?
Like a while ago, but I know they're good.
A couple days ago, because I love them. But if you want to fill everybody else in, I'm down.
So everybody knows, like, their big thing is that they get like an unbind, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. If they have 10 or more models, they have +1 to that unbind. And if there's a Khorne demon hero nearby, they get to re-roll that unbind.
Mm-hmm.
That is real good.
And you throw in the fact that they can actually fill out a murder host. Is there one of the units in the murder host? So you could actually have like a lot of unbinds with re-rolls and +1, which would work pretty well against Tzeentch, I have to say. And that free move at the beginning, and if you're 1 drop or if you're 2 drop, that free move at the top of your turn, like, all of their casters can be within range.
Sure.
And they have an 8 base move.
I mean, you going all the way? That's what I was going to say. Going all the way?
Yeah, so Karnak can once per game summon a block of Fleshhounds of any size as well. So you can actually set aside like 300 reinforcement points. Here's the interesting thing. Set aside 300 reinforcement points. You can use that 300 for a number of things. One, you could use it for, if you get high enough blood tithe, you could bring in a block of 30 bloodletters, like an additional block. You could set it aside and save it for a bloodthirster if you wanted to bring in one of those large bloodthirsters. Yep. If it doesn't look like you're going to achieve that, you can just trigger the thing and bring in 15 Fleshhounds.
Yep.
So you can always use those points. It can't be dispelled. It can't be stopped. So it would let you use your blood tithe for summoning potentially, and if it doesn't look like you're going to get it, you can always default to the bringing in the pack Fleshhounds with Karnak. And obviously, the other aspect of this, since I was looking at, was the potentiality of doing that with the Council of Blood.
Of course.
Yeah.
So that you get like the 4 command abilities or 3 command abilities. Yeah.
Anybody else wish that the Iron Guard battalion was actually pointed?
Well, I mean, look,
Guard.
if we're going to go down that road, I mean, look, there's a million battalions I wish had points. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
there it is.
No, but this one like seems like it should though. Like there's nothing. It's a sorcerer.
Where is it at?
I don't know. I'm in the app right now.
Oh.
It's a sorcerer lord of Tzeentch, 2 to 3 units of Tzeentch Chaos Warriors, and 1 to 2 units of Tzeentch Chaos Knights, and it gives them the ability to. You roll a d6 in the hero phase, and they get to the Chaos Warriors get to move that far, and you roll 2 dice for each unit of Chaos Knights, and they get to move that far.
It's neat.
And that's all it does.
There's a reason that doesn't have points.
Not to me. It just gives them fucking the destruction movement. Like it's not that big of a deal.
That the old destruction movement, they removed that. It's too good.
Well, you got to call it the Iron Fist movement now, basically.
The Iron Fist movement. That's
By the way, can we just talk for a moment? Hold on. I want to. Speaking of that, that reminds me, Paul. You keep using Iron Jaws in your video on movement, and like in your response to movement shenanigans, you mentioned a couple things, and like you reference the Stormcast stuff, and I get that. What are you putting your finger on with Iron Jaws? Are you putting it on the Gore Fist?
Whatever battalion it is that gives you that crazy like 15-inch move with the pigs.
Yeah, the Gore Fist. You get like
okay
with pigs, and you got to have like bare min's 9 pigs to take that, and it's a 220 point battalion. Like, I'm not going to argue that I don't think it's good. I think it's good. But it's not like you were holding it up there as like Vanguard Wing or whatever. Good. Get out of here, man. It's 9 pigs. There is no way this is playing in the same arena.
It is just pigs.
I'm throwing it out there as just an example of like another thing that just gets in your opponent's face turn 1.
Sure.
And I'm sure there is some combination of buffs that you can throw on those pigs that make them.
Nope.
There is not any combination of things that will make those pigs killy.
Tougher. Yeah.
Like,
or killy or tougher. Yeah.
They are
War Chanters.
Here is your best case scenario.
For extra attacks. Like that's not good enough.
I'll give you your best case scenario. Here you go. You ready? Here's your best case scenario. You still have, assume I have 6 units total, including my Mega Boss on Maw Crusher. Okay?
Okay.
Nearby, yes. Let's assume I've got a Grot Shaman, double War Chanta, Mega Boss, and enough pigs to fill this out. I'm just going to say I think that all fits. I'm pretty sure it does.
So you're dedicating your entire army to buff a couple units?
Right. So what's going to happen is I'm going to double stick the pigs, so they're at +2 to hit. I'm gonna move them up so that they have a charge. Now I have to make a choice here. Okay.
Yeah.
And that choice is: do I move them up so they land the auto charge, in which case their attacks get weaker? Okay.
They only do 1 damage
with the pig. Or do I put them at 8 inches away and try to land the, on average, longer charge? Because you get +1 to charge, so you need to roll a 7. So statistically, you got a 60 whatever % chance of achieving it, but still. But then my pigs can do the mighty D3 damage without rend. And what's up, Des? How you doing, buddy? Good man. So then now I then do the rest of my moves, and I'm going to fly my Maw Crusher up so he's within 15 inches of the pigs. He uses his command ability, but then it doesn't trigger until the command phase. Or sorry, until the combat phase. I'm going to fly him up so he's within 15 inches of all the units of pigs and within 15 inches of more units behind him, so I can get to 6. Then I happen to roll a 6 on that D6, okay, to test. And so now all the pigs are making extra attacks. What I have done by building this entire force is I now have 5 attacks at 3 up, or sorry, at 1 up, basically. So 5 attacks at basically 1 up. So just call it 2s. Plus 2 to hit, 3 to wound, neg 1 rend, 1 damage.
Wow,
and
you're almost as good as Engine Riggers.
Right, and yeah, sure, right there. And I have, this is per pig, so it's 5 attacks. It's 15 attacks across all 3 pigs, but still.
Sure.
At neg 1 rend, 1 damage. And then 6 attacks at 2 up, 4 up, no rend. Probably 1 damage if I took the safe route. Thus
Fair
ends
enough.
the buffing.
Okay. I'll pass. Hard pass.
Like, nope. Now, again, that's not their purpose, right? It's fine. They're fine at what they do. Oh, assume I Mystic Shielded them somewhere too. Probably. They're fine. Like, I love pigs. I think they're an amazing unit for 140 points. Like, at their
bodies.
Yeah, they are super heavy chaff. That's what they are.
Awesome.
I stick them into stuff and just say, have fun with that. Grind through
Enjoy.
that.
Yeah.
While I move the rest of my army around and get in a position I want. But they don't do anything. I say that, but they've killed they did land like a 12.5-inch cheater charge into a Bloodthirster and then smash him for 11 wounds in a turn. Like in the 2 games ago when I played, and they finished off a weakened Terrorgeist the last game I played this last weekend. So, go pigs. They make you win, but it's not usually by their damage.
Right. Like, they are not the Alpha Strike unit, and they should not be held up as such.
At best, they're an alpha. They're an alpha block unit that, like, you can build the big unit of 9 pigs, so you go 9-3-3, which is a lot of points, especially with the Gorefist on top. But then you take the 9 and you camp a point. If you're in a scenario where you can like move and grab a point, that's a good way to put them, because you just stuck.
It's a lot of wounds. It's 45 wounds you just put on that point. Right.
But you can't be in a scenario where like a unit of 20 models can grab it from you, right? It's got to be one of the scenarios that has a point that you can just hold and just hold.
You can do some crazy blocking with them too. With the bases, they're huge.
They are, yeah.
Sideways, 1 inch apart. I've blocked off massive amounts of table with them. They're good. Good for that.
Yeah, my Maw Crusher boss got charged by like 40 buffed up, super buffed skeletons, but he was shielded, and I got attacked. Like, I got 120 skeleton attacks on my Maw Crusher, and it turned into 5 wounds. That's a lot of rolling for 5 wounds. But I was like, I'm not going to be able to withstand this a second turn in a row. Like, so I retreated him out and then brought the pigs in, who went into their little like massive. They can just conga like nobody's business, man, when they get into that line, and just pulled him back, and then in came the pig conga line. It was just like, not getting to that guy skeletons. So, it's fine. I love them. I love my pigs. I want to do more. I've got 9 done. I want to do many more.
They're a fun unit that everybody looks at and it says, why the hell did you bring them? And then you move block them, and they're like, oh, that's why. Because my awesome unit of 30 Chaos Warriors is stuck here for the rest of the game.
Yep. Vince, by the way, I've already developed tactics for Holy Havoc.
Dear.
With your 33 model list.
Is that how many I have? That seems too high. That's not what I'm putting on the table.
No. Like, when you deploy, you'll probably have like 3, 6, 7, 8, between 13 and 18 models.
Yeah, I think my standard deployment is 13 models.
Yeah. in an event that is focused on having lots of bodies.
Yeah, well, I go my own way.
I like it. That works sometimes.
It's not going to work here. No, I actually take that back. Like, because the reality is that I'm just going to send Vince forward to die.
Yep.
And I'm going to focus on objectives. Like that. Like, that's what we're going to, like, there's no other way that we can play. Because Vince just doesn't, like, what he brings to the table is movement and being able to be hit in the face.
Look,
and Jaws.
I only have one question. and that's why ain't you
Yes.
fighting. All right,
Why
that's
ain't
right.
you fighting?
Why ain't you
Yes.
fighting?
But luckily, I'm going to have a KO list, so I don't have a lot of bodies to hold points, but I can at least contribute to the fighting.
Stone Monk, by the way, says one of his lists has a deploy of 7 models.
Yes! That makes me feel so good.
That's fantastic.
I approve of this message.
Yeah, it's going to be a mess. Like, it'll be fun. Don't get me wrong, but we definitely did not optimize for this. If I wanted to optimize for this event, I would have went Khorne or Zinj.
I created a list and an army that I love and enjoy playing. That to me is
Yeah, I know.
optimizing.
Yeah, I know.
Going
Blah,
to
blah,
an
blah.
event that you're supposed to just have fun at and be crazy, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, I mean, yes. And so this is not an optimization. Like, this is not Adepticon.
Yeah.
But the irony being, I looked at the list for Holy Wars, the signups, and like it's like the top 10 names at Adepticon last year are in the 30 people for Holy Wars. So it's going to be an interesting mix-up this year. So should be a lot of fun. And then Vince is there too.
And me too, yeah. That helped. I won't be. I mean, it's not like I'm going to be playing at Adepticon this year either, so it's fine.
I know. I still think it'd be awesome if you could end up doing a doubles event, like the Friday doubles event.
It's just doubtful, man.
I know.
Are you
I'll-
taking classes or?
Yeah, I'm teaching this year, yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So, I mean, I don't even know my schedule yet because I'm low man on the totem pole, so I get whatever times they tell me I get, right? I don't.
Before you'll find out, right?
Yeah,
Hopefully it's like 9 p.m. on Thursday night.
Well, I mean, like, if Roman or Rafi or somebody needs a certain time, guess what? They get it. I don't. That's how that works, and that
Right.
seems fair. They've put in the time. They've earned that. I'm down with that.
Right.
Please give me the crappy times if it means you get those awesome people there helping people paint. So
Certainly.
So when is Adepticon this year?
March 22nd. Sounds right.
Yeah, like 24th through, or I don't know. It's like the end of Marchish.
Maybe 23rd. Yeah, something like that.
Where is it located?
Chicago.
Chicago, Schaumburg, if you want to get real specific. A northwestern suburb of Chicago.
Yes, Paul, it's worth going to.
It is a very unique event, unlike anything else.
Yeah, I mean, I am in a place where I really want to start actually getting out to GTs and more competitive events, and I would love to get out to that.
Well, there is no try, Paul. There's only do or do not. That's how that works.
I completely agree.
I think Yoda was wrong.
I mean, of course he was. That's the stupidest thing you ever said. Of course there's try. What kind of dumb advice is that, you little muppet? Like, that's ridiculous. If that was true, then everybody in their life would basically be a complete failure. So thanks a lot, Yoda.
Well, I mean, but
for your
they?
Bazooka Joe experience or your Bazooka Joe advice. I'm sorry, did I pop a Snapple, you little muppet? I'm trying to learn how to be a space wizard here. You want to give me something helpful?
Vince, we need to get you not on your channel.
That's exactly right.
Get unfiltered Vince. And something tells me this still has like some sort of thin filter on it.
Oh yes. The rage that I exhibit runs deep with this one.
My whole company is doing, speaking of Star Wars, is doing a Star Wars Day for when it comes out. I think that's an event. They're going to take everybody to the new Star Wars, which I thought was a real neat thing.
That's cool. Is it in some way related to the company, or are they just all big Star Wars
No.
fans?
No, just just wanted to do a morale building sort of event around Christmas time, and Star Wars is there, and the leadership is a fan, and so there it was. That was that.
There you go.
I thought that was cool. I mean, Star Wars, I think, is a multi-generational thing. It really is. It's sort of a thing that I think a lot of people love and have good memories of from their childhood, and share with their kids and everything. It's just generally a pretty positive thing. So,
my daughter gets amped about Star Wars. Amped.
I know, Tom, you were you watch what, Clone Wars, or maybe it was Clone Wars. I don't know, Rebels, right? Yeah, there you go.
Rebels
with your kids, yeah.
Yep, they love it. And let me just say, Rebels is pretty amazing. I'm not gonna lie. It's like what would have happened if Firefly never went away.
Why?
You think I'm lying? Go watch the first episode, and you'll be like, they misnamed these characters.
No, I completely agree, and believe you, even from the little I've seen. I'm glad Firefly went away. Thank God that went away. And that's not me hating on Firefly. It's an amazingly good show, but it would have been terrible had it stuck around. All your positive memories are cloaked through the veneer of something that was taken away from you too soon. Had it went away...
Well, hold on. I actually regularly rewatch those 13 episodes.
Absolutely. And that is why. Because they are 13 crystallized perfect episodes. It wouldn't have stayed that way.
Lies. Lies.
All right, I'm going to be right back. I need to get a charger to actually plug my laptop in because I'm dying.
Yeah. Mine just gave me the warnings. They would have been perfection. TV perfection, Vince.
I would encourage anybody who thinks I'm out of my mind to go watch the Movies with Mikey episode on Serenity, because I agree completely with Mikey in this. Movies with Mikey in general is a truly amazing channel, but in this case, I think he is completely correct. He has some excellent discussion about this concept.
I'll have to check that out.
He shares an amazing story of when he was in the audience of Serenity, the movie, that is to say, right? Obviously.
Yeah.
And so if you remember the movie, spoilers for a movie in 2005, if you remember the movie, there's the moment where the, what's his name? God, I can't believe I can't think of his name. The doctor gets shot.
Oh, yeah. A Book.
No, not
Ron Glass.
No, Book is the...
No, not the
brother.
Not the priest. The brother.
Correct. The brother gets shot. I can't believe I can't think of his name, but apparently nobody else can either. So hey, there you go. I guess we're all big fans. But anyway,
it's not him, man.
So, and a woman behind him just lost it because, and for the reason is, and I agree with this. I remember being there in the theater and thinking, oh my God, he's gonna kill everybody. He's gonna that's how this is gonna end. He's gonna murder everybody. He being Joss Whedon in this case, right?
Yes.
And so, it's what you felt like. You were like, oh my God, he's going to do this.
This is happening on screen and he's making all of us watch it.
Yeah. So, anyway, I love the movie. I love the show. I'm glad it ended because it wasn't going to be a second Buffy. So, that's fine.
Yeah, some shows do just kind of need to end.
Angel was really a guilty pleasure, for sure.
No, it was amazing. There's no guilt there at all.
I don't know. I had problems with parts of it towards the end there.
Of course you did. Season 4 was the worst season of any television show ever.
It's not hyperbole at all.
I'm not joking. For anybody that hasn't seen it, season 4 is really, 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 really terrible.
Season 4 of what now?
Of Angel. Season 5 was,
My favorite scene in that entire series is where Spike is overwatching Angel save some girl, and he's like paraphrasing what he thinks Angel is saying.
Yes.
Yeah, that's very early on when Angel or when Spike is a bad guy.
Yeah. That was season 1.
Yeah, it is so fantastic.
Well, no, and that's why I said, and then season 5 is the best season ever for that show, and it's when Spike became a regular. And Spike is like, it's redeemed Spike at this point, and it's fascinating because suddenly the show reinvents itself because suddenly it may not indeed be about Angel at all, like the prophecy that's driven actually the main plot, but it gets undermined. And actually, spoiler for a show that went off the air in 2004.
We're spoiling everything from the early 2000s tonight.
It's revealed that indeed it's not about Angel.
Sure.
Because he signs away, he like authorizes and signs away the prophecy and his rights to it. So in fact, it's not about him, and it's about Spike instead.
Well, better character anyways.
So I'm just going to go off for a second in a completely different nerddom altogether.
Okay.
It's fine.
Speaking of shows that like should have ended and totally jumped the shark, anybody else watch Once Upon a Time?
Nope.
I used to. I did it up till season 5-ish, somewhere in there.
Yeah, like I realized like sometime early last season, I'm like, no, this show's no more. Like it started out pretty good and just like it just like went off a cliff, and now they did like a hard reset on.
Yeah, I heard they like recast like almost everybody or a bunch of the main characters.
Yeah, but like the whole point is that like, you know, the author is now like rewriting his own story, and like it's like, could you jump the shark any harder?
Yeah, I mean they pulled a Scrubs. I don't know if you watched the last season-ish of Scrubs, or the last 2 seasons, and basically they like rewrote, like they did a hard reset on Scrubs at the very end. A lot of people deny that
talking about season 9, and season 9 doesn't exist. As we all know, there is no such thing as season 9.
And there's Vince living in that land of deniability. Look, it does exist.
The show ended beautifully with season 8, with one of the most perfect endings to a show of all time. And then it went off the air, and that was great. And we never had to endure anything else.
Yeah.
Well, that's what happened.
That's my exact point.
That is a rare thing to happen.
That's exactly how I remember it.
Yeah.
Just like how I don't remember that there was another 5 minutes at the end of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Don't know what you're talking about. I got up and left the theater, and everything was fine.
I don't even remember how that ended at this point. Apparently, neither does Vince.
Oh, yeah, exactly. In all honesty, I unfortunately do remember it, but it ends with zombie Alan Quartermain. It ends with that ridiculous sequel bait, the payoff of the earlier comment about he can't die as long as something about as long as Africa's around or whatever nonsense.
As long as Africa's there, he can't die.
Something like that. Which I guess. So he has to wait for the continents to shift or something. I don't know. I mean, if on a long enough timeline, that will change.
Jesus Christ.
That would be the worst curse ever.
That'd be a real long life.
To live until the continent shift?
Yeah, I mean, well, tuck in. You're going to be here for a while. Better get a heck of a Snickers bar.
So here's a question. What quality TV shows actually ended at an appropriate point?
None.
Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, that's not true. I mean, you had to pick one of the most controversial shows ever.
Yep.
You picked BSG.
Yep. I'm just going to go in for that. I'm going to go in for the argument.
Sure. I particularly like the ending of BSG, but I think a lot of people don't, and I understand why. I don't know that it was perfect. I shouldn't even say that because they managed to, I had no problem with most of the last episode, and then they were just then they just kept going.
Are you talking about that newfangled Battlestar Galactica?
Yes.
That doesn't exist.
Which is... Oh, you're out of your mind. BSG, exempting some challenges with the ending or whatever, BSG, the reimagining is an amazing show. It is an amazing show. great characters, great mystery, great everything. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful show and a wonderful world it occupies and created. Like that's mostly thanks to Ronald D. Moore, who was, one of the major showrunners behind TNG, which would be my answer for you, Tom. TNG.
I can agree with that one. That would be the one that I would note as well. That ended at the appropriate time.
Yes, and season 7 was good. Yeah, there are a couple weird episodes, but there are a couple weird episodes in every season of TNG, so that's not that weird. Like season 7 has the Beverly making out with a space ghost episode, so whatever, things got strange certainly. But that's fine. It also had all good things. Its actual ending, which is, I would submit to you, one of the better episodes of an ending of any television show ever, and brought it full circle back with Q, right?
Mm-hmm.
Back to where we begin since we started with Encounter at Farpoint.
Very true.
So I don't know. There you go. That's my example. Buffy had a fantastic ending.
Yeah,
that show I was just referencing.
Still have not watched Buffy.
You are out of your mind.
I mean, you should watch Buffy. It's maybe one of the greatest shows of all time.
It started with season 2.
Yeah, I like.
Don't watch season 1.
Don't watch either that, or there's a couple of abbreviated lists out there that show you like the few episodes worth watching in season 1, Prophecy Girl, and a few other things that sort of set up the world. But yes, like you need the background so you understand what's going on a little bit, but you don't need all the episodes.
Yes, because if you do season 1, it's painful.
It is like there's a lot of just like get through. If you want to know more about it, there's a great YouTube channel called The Passion of the Nerd. Who does episode reviews of Buffy, like breakdowns and the philosophical sort of underpinnings of the show and what it's on about. And he has a top 10 reasons why you should watch Buffy. And he talks through the guide and, sort of what episodes he likes out of season 1 and stuff like that. You could always just watch the summaries of the first season, and that would honestly be pretty fine. But anyway, it's a great show.
Yep. That one is definitely worth watching.
My wife loved that show. I didn't really watch much TV ever, except for It's Always Sunny.
I've kept fairly current on It's Always Sunny. I do enjoy that show a great deal. I don't remember if it was season 10. Like, it amazes me how they keep knocking out quality. I think maybe like season 10. It was either 10 or 11. They did the ski trip episode, the 80s ski movie episode.
Yeah.
God, that was just so amazing.
One of them that sticks with me that's in the later ones is the Wade Boggs one.
Oh my God, the Wade Boggs one. Yes, so good. Yeah. The fact that they actually got Boggs to come on and do like the guest appearance or whatever as Charlie's hallucination. Amazing.
I love that show. That's one of those shows like Rick and Morty. I could just, or the Squidbillies. I could watch the same episode like 10 times in a row and I don't know, pick something new up from it that I didn't notice before. Very fun.
Well, you had me until Squidbillies, but that's okay. I understand.
I've never even heard of that before.
It's an Adult Swim show.
Yep.
That'd probably be why.
Like, I mean, my problem with most of Adult Swim is that it's all a pale shadow. I don't know, Tom, by the way, not you, Tom, other Tom, who asked a question in the chat about thoughts on a Halloween theme game. We've got our annual Halloween theme narrative game. We've got to get going this weekend. And I don't know. Last year we did a massive like zombie assault game where we gave the death player like unlimited reinforcement points.
Tom, what won't be happening is Vince won't be playing his Iron Jaws.
It's true. Oh no, I'll have to pick one of the other 8 armies that are sitting behind me. It's fine. I got enough practice in.
The rats with machine guns.
Rats with machine guns? That should be the Halloween theme game?
No, that's what you should take to the Halloween theme game. And just like mowing down zombies, that's all they're doing. All game.
Sure. Yeah, I've taken out Skyer a couple times. I really like Clan Skyer. I would go so far as to say I love Clan Skyer since it got its allegiance ability. I think it's tremendous fun. Those Warpstone tokens rule.
I'm trying to get my buddy who plays Iron Jaws to start them, but he doesn't want to because Storm Fiends are so like expensive to buy.
Storm Fiends would be the reason why I would buy Skyr.
It's like
I just want to paint them.
75 Canadian for 3 dudes. It's like he just can't justify it.
I get it. I mean, on the bright side, they are, you know, you're done. Then you don't need that many of them, right? Like, I'm not saying after 3. I'm saying, you know, realistically, you need like 6 or 9 or something, and it's a huge chunk of your army.
Yeah.
You know, like that's all your battle line done for 3 boxes of those guys. If you want to go that direction, which I wouldn't recommend. I actually do like acolytes. I think they have a great purpose in the list, but
it took him
end up having to convert.
It took him like a whole year to get his Iron Jaws together, though. Like,
yeah,
like just
Makes
to
sense.
get all the models. Like, it's
Yeah.
it's a hard knock life up here in Canada, man. Not as hard as Australia.
Everything with Monopoly money.
Right. That's right. Respect.
It's almost as bad as the guys in Australia.
Oh, we are nowhere near what they're at. That is, like,
yeah, they have it so much worse. Although, as we all know, the poor New Zealanders have it the absolute worst.
Yeah, it sounds like somebody on the Fire Slayer forum said that they paid $10 for a Volkite Berserker.
I saw that. I don't get how there can be such a price differential between Australia and New Zealand. Aren't they like
Shipping?
Aren't they like 5 feet apart?
Yeah.
I feel like those are really close together.
On maps, they're 5 feet apart, Vince.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, New Zealand also has the problem of like appearing to be a real country, but just kind of being in the middle of fucking nowhere in the ocean.
Sure.
Like, I feel like the New Zealand Age of Sigmar scene must be like 5 dudes in a basement.
Oh no, it's pretty big.
no, that's where I am. That's where I am. It's like that.
You mean the polar bears don't play Age of Sigmar?
Unfortunately, no, I have not been able to train them to push models across a game table without destroying it, unfortunately.
I like that you added the caveat without destroying it, like you've actually tried.
Sure. I'll be right back. I have to take care of something back in a moment.
Well, Morocco is definitely like in the cold north.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did a little research on where Mr. Maroc actually lives. And
And it
for those
turns
that
out
remember
from the
back,
north at all.
I just, for those of you who remember back to your history classes in high school, if you remember that old like 54-40 or fight thing, like that border dispute between the U.S. and Canada that was going on for a while in like sometime in the 1800s.
Sure.
Yeah, Morocco is north of that. He is so far north that even the most extreme territory grab, probably in like the United States history, didn't want that.
It's true. We're like, nah, we're good.
Yeah, like nobody wants that. Well, I mean, this town is only here because there's like a giant vein of nickel that runs through like where we are. Like that's the only reason this town exists.
The nickel mines.
Yep.
Is there basically just a giant hole underneath the entire town?
No, there's a giant hole next to the town.
Okay,
They were
at least
smart in
enough
city
to
planning.
put a town over a place where the hole was not going to be.
Yeah, like the parking lot where I work is where the town started. Like there's actually like a little monument there because like that's where the first like settlers of Thompson lived, was in the parking lot in a camp at the mine.
So fantastic.
People do crazy things for money.
Yep, it's crazy because like my grandfather actually like came over here from Scotland to like work at the mine, and it took him like 5 years to be able to save up the money to send away for his wife and kids to come over. So he spent like 5 years in this fucking camp, And then like eventually when houses and stuff were built, he bought a house and like moved them over here and stuff. And so yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, that is definitely crazy. Meanwhile, I live in a nice part of the country that I'm really not sure has a reason for existence.
I'm sure there was something at some point that made people say, hey, you know what? Let's live here.
Yeah, it wasn't overrun by Indians at the time.
Like, there are less Native Americans in this area for us to slaughter. This seems like a good place to be. We need to keep this genocide to a minimum. Keep it under our hats.
That was my non-PC thing of the night to say.
I like how you said it while Vince wasn't here as well. Like, that is a thing that happened.
I'm gonna let him. I'm gonna let him firefight that later when it pops up on Twitter. Surprise, motherfucker!
I think that's like the second time I've ever heard you swear.
Yeah, I don't normally swear. I
feel
do
like
it when
Tom
it is.
swears all the time. What are you talking about?
I do it when it is contextually appropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
it's all
actually,
relative.
I've actually heard Vince swear more than I've heard Tom
Mm-hmm.
swear.
Yeah, I don't normally swear. It's true. It's normally I can communicate the ideas that I want to without having to swear.
See, I come from a very heavy industrial environment, so like I'm having to restrain myself extremely.
I understand. I mean, you need to further contextualize. I mean, both my parents worked at a refinery, so yeah, I get it.
So you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I do. In fact, in college, I worked at the refinery for a summer while I wasn't going to school. So I do indeed. I understand the life.
What were they refining?
Oil.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so that's even more hardcore than what I'm doing.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in the shadow of a refinery. So.
Well, that is something we have in common.
Yep.
I just grew up in the shadow of white privilege.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I monopolized the heck out of white privilege. Once I found out I had it, people told me, I'm like, awesome, let's do this.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you're going to have it, like, why lament it?
My goal is, like, I never had that, but, like, my goal is to make sure that my kids have that.
Yep. That was my father's story. Indeed.
I could tell you guys some stories from the wild world of Connecticut white privillegeville. It is just like everything that like every bullshit thing that you can think of like stereotypical upper middle class to rich white people. It's like just inundated in my life everywhere all the time.
Awesome.
Yeah, I love that I grew up in the exact opposite of that. I grew up in a very I grew up as a minority in an urban setting. Very, very fun, different sort of and not far away. Sort of
yeah, that's what's funny is that you live like 15 minutes from me, and we had like this completely different life experience.
Yep.
Yeah,
in the where I grew up, it is still the world capital for teen pregnancy. The state had to take over the public school system, and when I was a kid going to school, I had a higher per capita gang members than Los Angeles. Is that crazy?
Wow.
Like, not far away.
That is impressive. Simply impressive.
That's pretty crazy.
What city did you actually grow up in?
Holyoke.
Oh, yep, there you go.
Yep.
That's all walks of life here. We've got the urban, the white privilege, and the guy who grew up in the woods.
It's amazing.
I just want to say, just really for reference here, I am adjacent to white privilege. I am really not fully inundated within it.
I suspect that most folks who you would normally use the language of white privilege would disagree with you heartily, Paul. I
am sure they would. I am sure they would.
I mean, look at that basement. It's like finished. I don't even have a basement.
It's
amazing.
You know, I've spent a lot of my career doing like taxes for people that like are in like the 1% of the 1%. So I feel poor no matter what I do.
Yep. That's so funny.
Amazing.
That's Connecticut, though, isn't it?
It is. And I actually spent some time down living in like the really rich part of Connecticut, and that is just like some fucking crazy nonsense.
Greenwich and Fairfield, and right?
Yeah. I lived in Stamford for a little while, and I lived in Bridgeport for a while in like the nice-ish section.
Bridgeport is not. that doesn't come up on my radar.
But like it's like literally it's hilarious because it's right next to Fairfield, which is one of the richest towns in the state.
Yep.
And like you literally like you drive down like roads in like one of the main roads like that goes from like Bridgeport to Fairfield, and there's like Fairfield cops like waiting on the line all the time.
That's like where I live now in Long Meadow. They were always like waiting for anybody to leave Springfield, or when I lived in Holyoke, they were in Northampton waiting on that line.
Yep. It's funny stuff.
Ready to give the "you don't belong here, boy" talk.
Yep.
I mean, that bit in Family Guy about like Bridgeport, Connecticut being the capital of like broken glass, stray dogs, and gas stations without pumps, like that is not inaccurate.
It's pretty funny to see how accurate Family Guy really is.
Well, because Seth MacFarlane is like from Connecticut, so like he actually like he gets it.
I think he's from Massachusetts, and he went to school in Rhode Island.
Yeah. And I will tell you with 100% certainty, I have relatives that sound exactly like Lois Griffin.
Yes, so do I.
Exactly.
Peter.
Yeah.
That nasally fucking. I don't know how the fuck people put up with that crap. It's like when, it's like when we went
I'm
to.
actually originally from Rhode Island, so I escaped that accent by like just like moving a couple of years before that accent, like before being old enough that accent would take hold permanently.
So you like, you lived like 2 houses down from where it was happening, is what you're saying?
No, I was in the middle of like the area where like that accent is everywhere, but I moved to Connecticut when I was like 8, which is right around the time when that sort of accent like makes itself more permanent. So like my parents both sound like that.
Peter.
See, I feel kind of bad for my kids because like they've got like my wife is from Britain, right? So she's like she has a British accent. So like my kids will like say certain words and it'll have that like British sort of I guess twang.
Yeah.
And I'm Canadian, so like the rest of everything is Canadian. So like they say things like theater and things like that, and
it followed up with A.
Exactly.
What's this theater all about, eh?
Yeah, exactly.
That's fantastic.
Like it's weird, and like there's moments where like, you know how sometimes your kid will do something and like it'll give you pause.
Yep.
Like you'll just be like, did that just happen? Did you really just do that? And like, it's an everyday occurrence here because they'll say things that like,
Yep.
Just
you
imagine.
just don't expect.
Yep.
My daughter has a friend whose mother is from Germany and his father's from Britain, and they live here. And it's so fun to like listen to her talk and hear the German accent, the English accent, and the American accent all fight for dominance.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, so my grandmother is from France, but she is from the part of France that like practically borders Germany. So like, you know, multiple wars, they got like invaded hard in that area, kind of France. And like they have like they, you know, were farmers and they had like, you know, burnt out tanks out in their fields that they were never able to get rid of. But like she speaks French with a German accent. It's really strange.
That's pretty cool.
The one thing about like living way up here that I am like slowly growing to hate is the fact that like
Cold.
I never get to take part in like any of these. No, the cold doesn't bother me. You get used to that. It's the like community stuff that I don't get to take part in, like tournaments and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like
You're in an isolated ecosystem.
Yeah, like my goal for next year is to hopefully make it to one of the holy events. Like that's something I really, really want to do, and then maybe the year after try out Adepticon. But like, it is so difficult, and it is so far. Like,
Yep.
we only have like one airline that leaves from where I am, and so like they have a monopoly. So like to go from where I am to like say Winnipeg, which is like the capital of Manitoba, and it's like the next hub before you go to anywhere else, like Chicago or Toronto or whatever.
Yep.
To fly from here to Winnipeg costs me as much as it does to go from Chicago to Heathrow.
Wow.
It's retarded.
Funny.
And like to like get there by vehicle is an 8-hour drive.
You're saying to Winnipeg?
Yes.
And it's probably doing like 100 miles an hour at that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's 800 kilometers away.
Whew.
What is that in like real people distance?
I have no idea.
You made me mess up my paint because I was laughing so hard, Paul. Thank you. There's a white streak on this metal platform now because of you. Thanks.
You should send it to me and I'll sign my name on it and then send it back.
That's not going to work. Shipping this board would cost so much money.
That is 497.09 miles.
A lot of miles.
That is a very long way.
Of nothing. How many gas stations?
There's 3 in between. There's 3.
That is
So now you have to factor in how far you have to push your car when you run out of gas.
Well, like it's like
it's a thing.
Our gas tanks in Canada are naturally big because there's a lot of open space in between everything. So like you can generally get from here to the second like gas station stop before having to like fill up again, but like it's still retarded.
Pretty funny.
Hey guys, sorry I'm late. I was busy watching a 1-hour loop of the last 5 minutes of all those TV shows you guys don't like. Mostly League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Nice. That's not a TV show.
It's
Australian. It doesn't know the reference.
I was in the car on the way back from the beach with the kids in the back, and
great,
you guys were talking about how hard it is to be in Australia and New Zealand, because I'm originally from New Zealand, moved to Australia, and
you're like cussing at us in the car.
Yeah, I'm like, language, fucking hell.
Amazing.
So I think this may be like the most international edition of a Paintisode that I've ever had.
Fantastic.
Mate, someone's got to come on here and give you a bloody show, a bit of culture, all these bloody Americans you got going on there.
Yeah,
Hey, hey, we have a Canadian. We have a guy who is north of the wall. It's okay.
So, like, here's a question that I think I asked you, like, on like Facebook Messenger that I don't think was ever asked or was ever answered. So, like, you know, as someone that is from Australia or, you know, New Zealand, that whole area that was, you know, formerly a British penal colony, if you do like an Ancestry.com search, you get to find out like what crime your ancestors committed to get like sent down there.
That's amazing.
I do think I'm pretty sure that you can, because I found out that no, like straight up, I found out that give me one sec. Yep, who is it? Go and do your chore, otherwise I'll come out there and I'm going to make you do it. All right, so so my ancestor was sent here for stealing bread, and as a result was put onto a ship to help explore the South Pole, and incidentally was the first ever recorded person to die of frostbite. So there you go.
Wow.
I'm sorry that I'm laughing at the misfortune of your ancestor. It's really funny.
Yeah, that's cold, man. That's cold. Pardon the pun.
No, no, he was cold.
What a way to break the ice. Very nice.
So yeah, no, I think you can find out. I think you'll find, as with most British people, they're overly sensitive. So all the people that were sent to Australia was for shitty crimes that no one really cared about anyway.
And also, after reading, I know like Irish politics was another huge like boatload of people that got sent to Australia as well.
Yeah, the
Really?
Catholic Protestant.
Yep.
Dick.
Oh, come off it. That's just what they say. We all know it was just drunk and disorderly.
I like that too.
That would explain the current state of Australia.
Don't get me started on currency and money. All right, I needed 6 prosecutors just today. I walked into a G-Dub store thinking, oh yeah, shouldn't be too bad. $140
No.
for 6 prosecutors. I honestly almost went, here, just take my son. Like,
The prosecutor's not worth it is the answer.
yeah, well, yeah, definitely.
Might as well just buy a couple of Start Collecting boxes at that point.
No, because their Start Collecting boxes are like $400.
Yeah, the Start Collecting boxes is one arm, and you literally have to cut a pound of flesh off yourself in store. But
With that
no,
on,
I wanted the javelins so I could put together those lists we've been talking about, Paul. But
It's called eBay.
yeah, I'm starting to. There's a whole bunch of stuff that's really cheap in Poland, so
Yep.
it's
a
I
converted all mine. I got starter prosecutors also on eBay, or some of them at least, and then converted all of them over.
Yep, that's
using
what I did.
javelin bits.
Yeah, because I ran Vanguard Wing against Brenly last night, and he slaughtered me. Absolutely slaughtered me.
Really?
Yeah, prosecutors are no good with those hammers. No good at all.
No.
what
Your prosecutor should never see melee combat.
No, my prosecutor should never see the table.
You could even take the Palador's like javelin thingies and use those. Like if you can't find the prosecutor bits,
Yeah. That's a really good idea. See, that's actually better than my idea. At the moment, I'm priming some fucking toothpicks, and I'm just going to stick them onto their hands and say they're javelins. Because $140 for 6 prosecutors is daylight robbery. Like I couldn't even laugh. Usually I don't mind laughing at the prices, but yeah.
Another thing that you could do too is if you've got like the paladin blades or whatever, you could use those as well.
Yeah,
that's a really
protector
good
blades.
idea. Yeah, I've got some of them.
Just
Yeah,
because
the
they're
protector
not a bad
blades
idea.
could be converted.
That's like $120 for that one box.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not fun. It's almost going to work out cheaper for me to just do one buy every year. Just like, get a list together and then in November get a ticket and fly over to the US, stay at Paul's place for a night and irritate the shit out of his wife, buy everything, and then fly back. It'd probably still be cheaper.
I'm pretty sure you could probably just get somebody to send that stuff to you.
Yeah.
That sounds too logical and not as fun.
That's probably true.
It's absolutely true.
I'm still trying to figure out what it is about Australia and New Zealand that makes their prices so ridiculous. Like, is it just Games Workshop stuff? Or is it like everything that's imported?
I think it's shipping, isn't it? Isn't it just the fact that everything costs 6,000 million gazillion GW dollars to get to Australia?
The irony there is that they're shipping from like China, which is closer than Britain.
Most of them stay around again, right?
I mean, is there like some kind of crazy import tax or something like that?
Cost of living's pretty high in Australia, isn't it?
There's GST. It kind of depends on, I don't know what expensive is because it's all pretty relative. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's what, $1 here for $1 US is. It's all different. I'm watching like shows of like people struggling to buy houses in the States for like $220K. They're like, oh, that's $20,000 over budget. I don't think I can do it. Meanwhile, my missus and I are like, shit, 900 grand. We may have to wait another year. Like,
Yeah.
Wow.
Like California. Or Connecticut.
Yep. Or Connecticut.
Yeah, I'm very happy to never have lived in stupid places like that.
Didn't you just say that you used to live in the shadow of an oil field?
In a near a refinery, to be very clear. And yes, houses were not that expensive there. Imagine that.
Because nobody wants to live next to a refinery.
Also true.
Yeah. You don't want to live next to a thing that may one day accidentally explode.
Well, I lived there for 18 years and it never exploded.
That's good.
I was waiting for you to say it, and I turned out fine. I was going to be.
No, not going to claim that one.
To be fair, like refineries don't explode all that often. It's the nuclear power plants that have a tendency to do the big Chernobyl thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Now,
bro, I
that
don't know.
said,
Nuclear is actually one of the safest energy options. It's just that when it goes bad, it goes quickly
okay.
bad.
Tell Japan that. No, but what I was
Well, you know what? That's what they get for building nuclear power plants on one of the biggest fault lines in the face of the earth.
No, what I would say though was I will say that, I mean both my parents worked at a refinery, and there were many nights where like they didn't come home, or they got phone calls in the middle of the nights because there was a fire and they would have to go. They were on like the teams, so that's a real thing. Like fires are a thing, explosions are not.
Okay, but what about like?
Well, no, I take
Deepwater
that back. I
Horizon
have seen
thing.
explosions, so so the whole thing doesn't go up though.
But I've
Only,
seen
like,
Deepwater
towers.
Horizon. All right, I've seen all those movies where shit goes wrong over in the States. It's like whatever can go wrong will go wrong, and then we'll make a movie out of it. That's
That's
the
pretty
US.
true.
Called the Gulf of Mexico, right?
Yeah. Yeah, like
Like,
our refinery here doesn't like there's fires and stuff, but like it's mostly like
Right.
electrical shocks and things of that nature.
See, the worst thing that happens here in Australia is you can't find your fucking car in the car park. Like,
What about all the poisonous animals and stuff?
That's
You
what
have an environment that's literally trying to kill you at all times.
Death World
Yeah.
Australia, right?
But hello, that's how the Catachans turned out so awesome, right?
That's right.
So no, it's
That
not
is a
that
fair
bad. We just make up shitty stories of really cute animals and say that they're dangerous to stop people from coming over here.
It's like, look at this koala, and it'll actually tear your face off. Like, don't touch it.
They're assholes.
Yeah, they're like really cute killer sloths.
Yeah.
Drop bears. I think we've got like snakes and all that sort of thing, but I don't know. I live in the city. None of that stuff bothers me. Maybe Doom and Darkness. Maybe. I think he lives out somewhere in the Wops though.
My sister-in-law just was there, and she was like out in the outback or whatever, and like she was at a bar. She said that there was like this lady come over the PA system in the bar and was like, just to let all you folks know, there's a brown snake in the somewhere in the bar. Do not be alarmed. It's just a baby. It'll be okay. Like it was an everyday occurrence. It's like, what the fuck? It's like the most poisonous snake in the world. And you're like, yeah, it'll be all right.
Yeah, there's a few things like that. There was one woman who made the newspaper because she had a pet snake, and it was really big, but she loved the snake, and she said to the vet how worried she was about it because it was all lethargic and it wasn't eating. And the vet said, well, how long's it been since it ate? And the woman goes, oh, it's been about 4 or 5 days. The snake just won't eat, you know. And I love my snake. You can't help it. And the vet said, all right, well, what sort of enclosure does the snake have? And she said, oh, it's free to roam my house. You know, it sleeps on my bed with me. And the vet was like, yeah, your snake's not eating because it's preparing for a meal. It's probably going to try and eat you in your sleep. So, like, for real, that's just, some woman's just like got this gigantic freaking python of some description, and it's literally gone, yeah, I'm just going to starve myself so I can fit you in.
Nice.
So that's basically Australia.
Amazing. Sounds like Florida.
Yeah, like it sounds like Australia is a bizarre combination of Florida and like Arizona, New Mexico area.
Yeah. But
yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying to argue it, but I've got no way of arguing that. Yeah, no, yeah, you're right, 100%. Yeah, fuck it. Except it's easy to find work.
It's true. The worst part about painting this board is it kills my back because it's so impossible to paint.
Because you're standing over it the whole time?
Yeah, like I'm having to like stand over it hunched over.
Yeah. You know what the trick with that is, Tom?
Don't build boards.
Yeah.
Put it on the floor.
No, like you don't understand. Like I get it. I could put it on my floor, but that's not going to help this situation because then I'm on my knees painting it, or I'm bending over even more.
It's tall enough that you could sit in a chair.
But I'm still hunched over then. Like I'm still crouched. Like I'm still arched.
That won't hurt your back as much.
You get a nice rig to like get it tilted up at like a 60-degree angle, and just work on it. You're good.
Really? Work on this at like a 60-degree angle.
Advice. That's terrible advice, guys, and you should all feel shitty. What you need to do is what I do. Get friendly to do it for you. All right, just
my kids are begging to let me paint or let them paint, and I was like, nope. Daddy loves his brushes too much.
That's why you have to have craft brushes. Here you go, kids.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Yeah, I mean that's what's going to have to happen. I have a bunch of Bones minis I'm going to hand off to him to let him, play on. But yeah, I don't have the brushes yet for him.
Yeah, I mean, you just buy cheap brushes or give your old brushes to them. I've been painting with my oldest since she was 2. She's almost 13.
Wow. That's awesome.
Damn.
Yep.
I don't know how you find time to paint and hobby and all that, man. Because if I had the guitar collection you've got, I'd be smashing that every day.
I don't sleep.
That's I can relate to that.
Just sitting here, I got one guitar, and I thought, yeah, awesome. And now I've just seen those and went, I'm not a musician.
I was a musician. I sold a lot of my guitars so I could buy a house. Yeah, messing with amplifiers. I had a 5150. I had just tons of guitars and amps and just
Holy crap, man.
the stuff I loved. Yep.
I don't know what any of that is.
See, I grew up really poor, so I just had one for 10 years that I stole from my high school until I could afford my own.
That's how I was with like my Magic the Gathering collection. If I like my first round of playing, like way back in the day, if I had like kept all of those cards instead of selling them all off, would have had a down payment for a house.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. It's really good that Vince isn't here. He would lose his mind right now in this conversation.
About selling his cards, or has he never sold his
Well, I'll say it. I don't mind sharing the story because he's not here and I don't have to hear his bitching. So he quit at some point, like in the early 2000s. And he was like, you know what, I'm done. And he was like, here's a bunch of my cards. I'm not going to play. I know you're playing occasionally. Or no, this wasn't the early 2000s. This is like late 90s. But like maybe like 2000, 99, 2000. It's like, I'm not going to play anymore. And like
going at all.
And we had been playing together for years. And so like he just gave me his binder. So he didn't give me like all the junk. He just gave me like, a binder full of like Arabian Nights stuff. And Legends and Dual Lands and stuff like that. And he was like, here, you and Travis split it up. I don't care, whatever. And so I gave Travis a bunch of it, and I took some of it.
Here's all the homelands, Travis, and you get the Chronicles,
maybe. Here's some Fallen Empires and Chronicles. No. And so what ended up happening was a couple years later, I was like, you know what? I haven't touched my Magic cards in like 5 years, 6 years. I'm going to get rid of all of it. So I had a full set of duels. I had a handful of beta duels. I had the alternate art plateau. I had 2 Moxes, the whole deal. And I sold it. Got rid of all of it. And Vince just sent me a link on something, so I think he's listening to us. And he's going to be bitching about something, which is amazing. Oh, Travis is in the chat. Huh, interesting. Anyways, that's why he hasn't returned. But no, so the humor here obviously is that like I probably sold tens of thousands of dollars of his cards that he just gave to me. They're worth that now. They weren't worth that then. I got a couple $1,000s out of it, and I got an awesome deal on D&D minis at the time, which like still have also held their value remarkably well.
The chainmail ones?
The ones after chainmail, like the plastic pre-painted ones. Mm-hmm. Like the full sets are a couple $1,000s each. And I had like all 15 or 18 sets, and like so, and I still have all those sitting in boxes in my basement.
Sorry, wait, for a card.
What?
For cards.
Well, the Magic cards now that I sold would be worth. I agree. My Magic collection would probably easily be worth 20 to 30 grand at least. What I sold.
Holy shit!
Yep. I mean, that's just what the market is, and that's what I mean. Like Black Lotuses are like $30,000 each now, or something like that. Like 20 to 30 based on their current quality.
Nuts.
Yeah. Like. Yeah, I mean that's just like Dual Lands. I think are up to $100 a pop, and I had a full set of 40. So I mean, yeah, it's like it's an insane world. Yeah,
yeah. I've seen it now for 8,000 signed heavy play.
Yep.
See, I'm fucking bitter and shitty that my son's Pokemon card collections cost me about $100. I thought that was crap.
Well, no, I mean, when I bought them, they cost as much as Pokemon. It's just somehow in 20 years it's kept up, and so they're now worth a lot more.
They were $1.50 a pack or something like that when they came out.
Who, Magic?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like
he went up pretty fast by fourth edition.
Yeah, like by fourth edition you're paying like $3 to $3.50 a pack. Yeah. And then they leveled off there.
Oh.
Wow.
When I played, it was like $15 for a booster.
It's true.
No, can't do it. I could never get into it.
I'll be right back, gentlemen.
Yeah, they had a ton of cards. Did the same thing. The same thing with my guitars. Sold them. Out of here. Time to buy a house.
My weakness was cars.
If I had somewhere to put a car, you know, I guess I was living out of them sometimes. But yeah, cars should have been my weakness, but never were.
Mate, Des, move to Australia and you'll have plenty of room for all the fucking cars you want, buddy. Bring your cars.
New England, not really a lot of room.
Yeah.
Everyone, you guys are all from different states and stuff, aren't you? I've just in my head, because I live in a fucking island, like everything's sort of relatively close. In my head, I think you guys are all just like in the same neighborhood. Do you know what I mean? Like streets away from each other or something.
To be perfectly honest,
we literally are like 15 minutes from each other.
That would be like the sweetest thing ever.
Yep.
Like that would be gamers Mecca is what that would be. That would be like ideal.
And it's funny, like the juxtaposition of that is like Paul and I live so close to all these game stores. We're like, oh, it's 40 minutes away. I'm not driving there.
Fuck you guys.
Yeah.
Fuck you guys so hard.
There is a lot of traffic around here.
Brindley said, stop inviting Americans to Australia, God damn it. Sorry.
Yeah, there's a lot of traffic around here. Yeah. Is it 8 hours worth of fucking traffic to get to a game store?
On a Saturday.
I'm gonna say,
yeah, go fuck yourselves. It's not.
I mean,
wait, man, don't hold back. Tell us how you really feel.
Put it this way: without traffic, it'll take me like 2 hours to get to New York City.
All right, that is it.
It'll take me like
thought is gone. I'm gonna lay this shit down right now. Fuck you.
But it's 40 minutes.
Oh man.
Mate, it takes me an hour to get to my closest G-Dub store.
Oh.
Let's put this in perspective, kids. Like you can drive across the entire state of Rhode Island in 40 minutes.
Yep.
Really? America's not that big then.
No, it is. 3 days. It's probably 3 days if you want to drive from like the East Coast to the West Coast, driving straight.
Yeah, it's about the same as Australia.
It's like 2 days to get to the other side of a province here.
Yeah.
And Hawaii is part of America, yeah?
Yeah, it takes a long time to drive there.
So in that case, technically, I've been to America. All right, fuck you guys.
Yeah, Hawaii's like
it wasn't all that. No, I want to chuck the missus on a plane, come over and do a Route 66 tour.
Oh, that'd be
sort
fun.
Of thing. Like hire an old school convertible Cadillac and just cruise the whole bloody thing, and just stop at every seedy, smoky blues bar I can find along the way.
That's on my my checklist too.
Mate, you live in the fucking country. Why are you even on here? If I was there, I'd be doing it right now.
Like 40 minutes away.
40 minutes away. I'm just going to lay this down right now. Fuck you.
I love how we're like a little while into this, and the Americans have already pissed off both the international peace corps.
No, mate. Like, in all honesty, the rest of the world was pissed off with you guys long before this cast started. Don't worry. You're just lucky that you've got Canadians.
I need accurate representation of my countrymen. That's all I want to be.
It's all right. We're all friends
a
with the people north of the wall.
egotistical, narcissistic, nationalistic, like total pain in the ass. That's what I'm here to be.
And mate, you do such a good job. What I appreciate about you is your consistency.
You know what I'm doing right now is I am torturing myself, like looking up values of Magic cards that I used to own.
Don't do it. Don't do it. See what you've started, Tom? God damn it. I'm going to be getting Facebook messages for the next 3 days. Oh my God, dude, look at this card. I bought it for $10. I sold it for $15. It's worth $6,000.
Yep.
Like, just my like pieces of the Power 9 that I owned now could like be a down payment on a house component.
Bro, what are you doing?
Like, mistakes were made, and I just wanted to like emphasize how big the mistakes were that were made. That most of my Magic collection was traded and sold in exchange for building up a collection of Star Trek: The Collectible Card Game.
Oh God,
That's a thing?
It was a thing.
How'd that go
Yeah.
for you?
It was a fun game while I was playing it, and then it just crashed and burned along with the company that produced it.
Yeah, so like how was that return on investment there?
All of those cards, I still own all of those cards, and they are sitting in a big Tupperware bin up in a closet in my spare bedroom.
So come on then, Math Hammer. Tell us what your return on investment's going to be.
50 cents.
I mean, they make good kindling.
You can put them in the spokes of your bicycle. It's about as good as it's going to get.
Well, I don't even know. I think I've got maybe like 10 grand worth of AOS, and I think I'm just going to stop there. Famous last words, but yeah.
Is that like that's 10 grand like Australian though, right?
Yeah, so basically that's like 12 prosecutors and a unit of liberators.
Start collecting box.
Let's start collecting box on a piece of terrain. So. No, I'm working on these things.
Nice.
Yeah,
Driving me nuts.
They're awesome. You need an airbrush.
Yeah, well, give me an address. I'll send you 9 of them. You can send them back painted.
We could work something out.
They're driving me nuts. And then I've got this box of 3D printed terrain cottages that I'm supposed to, that I've like printed, and they're upscaled to 32 mil instead of the 28 mil standard. And they're really cool, but now that I've like cleaned them up and they're ready to get primed, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Ah.
So it's a hard hobby life.
Yeah. Houses are, for the most part, pretty simple. Like, especially if it's like the stucco houses, because it's just like brown and then like a bleach bone and then dry brush some white and then like wash in a bunch of greens and browns and stuff to try and make it look a little weathered, and then paint the timber wood and you're good to go, right?
Yeah. The table I'm going for is sort of like it's still in like the fantasy sort of, you know, Bretonia time sort of thing, but the town's been raided, so I'm gonna like nail some bodies to a wall and hang somebody from the bloody temple and shit like that.
Right. So you're basically building my Mordheim board. Yeah.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah. See, we've got to do that here in Australia, because if I bought a Mordheim board, it would cost me $1.6 million, and I'd have to remortgage the house to get it.
You've actually got a company down there called Back to Basics, and they are like, that's where I got all my stuff for my Mordheim board from. They do these awesome, like 1 foot by 1 foot MDF tiles.
Yeah.
They're like all magnetized together, like they click together.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Like, and like,
how do you know this and not even live here, and I don't know it and live here?
Because when I was on my second board, I did like a metric shit ton of research and looking for like stuff to put the board on, because what I ended up doing was buying the Herstarts molds and then like building stuff and then making my own molds so that I didn't have to cast the Herstart stuff like a bajillion times, and then I just built a city out of plaster. So like, yeah.
I would just like to point out for a moment that you used the term metric shit ton when your normal unit of measurement is metric.
Well, I had
necessary. I feel like that's
it was
for you.
Necessary. Got to rub it in.
Oh my god, are you assuming my preference?
Are you dipping miniatures with house paint, Paul? Like, stop.
He's dipping.
No, literally. Okay, so this is my basing hack. Are you ready?
Oh god, I don't think any of us are ready, but yeah, go for it.
So yeah, like I had this left over from building my table, right? So I used a bunch of just like matte brown house paint and sand, mixed it together, and like spread that over the top of my tabletop to create, like an interesting textured natural surface, and then went back, dry brushed it, all of that to give it some character. Had some of the brown left over. So I'm like, what would be great is that if my army matched my tabletop. So I kept the same paint around, and I found that latex-based paint is actually also an excellent adhesive for basing materials. And because when it dries, it contracts a lot, unlike, like PVA.
Uh-oh.
Did he freeze?
I think he's using AOL.
I think he's run out of money in his modem. He's got to go put another 20-cent piece in and wind that shit up.
I love how he's like got the hand up, like that he's frozen like this.
Yeah, it's like Godfather freeze. That's a great pose, Paul.
He's power huffing right now.
Yeah.
His computer crashed.
In Paul's absence there, I'm just going to say that story is really great, but he's still using a bucket of fucking primer.
Yeah. Like, I was legit, like, scared there for a second because I thought he was about to take that and put it on his miniatures.
Yeah.
I would do that just to save time and hassle.
I don't know what he was doing.
He's I don't know, either he's like really good at freezing or he's Gonskis.
Yeah, his computer crashed. Probably just me. I don't know.
Oh well.
Oh yeah, there goes the picture.
Oh yeah. Look at it. Oh, he scrubs up.
That's
I'd go there.
That's the prim and proper Paul right there.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on a second. Let's see, where is he? Oi, get back on, you hopeless, technologically challenged motherfucker. All right, there we go. I've got to be careful. Last time I sent someone an insulting message, it was accidentally my mother-in-law. And she's like real religious. No.
Oh boy.
Anyway. So is it like nighttime over there? And what direction does your toilet flush? All the important questions tonight.
Yeah, it's almost 1 o'clock. It's getting there. 12:40. Still early for me.
I'm an hour behind him.
Man, that must suck. Well, it's 2:40 p.m. in the future.
Beautiful, warm.
So just to let you guys know, Trump is still president. The leader of North Korea still looks like a really ugly garden gnome, and Australia is still hot as fuck.
What's the temperature right now?
It is currently. Don't make me do it in that fucking crappy Fahrenheit thing. It's 33 degrees centigrade.
Oh well, that's not that bad.
Yeah, but the humidity is 100%.
Oh, so that sounds like where I work. Fantastic. So it's like terrible, yeah.
Yeah, I look at my pool and there's no point in me getting in it because it gets so hot that the water goes warm as well. So you literally just like walk into liquid air. Like it's the worst feeling. It's not great. Oh, here we go. Here he is.
Like you'd think that someone who is constantly having problems with their computer would just like get on this on their phone.
Yeah, well, that's what I was trying to do, but it doesn't work.
It's got to get a new modem. That's it. Got a new modem, he'd be good. Plus, he's in the lead-lined basement. I think that's another factor.
I think it's quite suitable for Paulo. I'm like, he's got it all sorted down now. I'm kind of a bit jealous. I've got a corner in my media room, which is really hard to hobby in when somebody decides they want to watch like a Catherine Cookson film in 4K. So, love you, hon. I think she heard that.
I'm pretty lucky. I have my own. I work from home, so my office is also my studio for whatever I want to do.
What? Living the dream.
I am living the dream.
That's bullshit. I drive for 1 hour in the morning and 1 hour back from work every day. Just to, 2 hours of my life every day is wasted in travel to work. I think that's the best thing about working from home is not having to do that.
Oh yeah, it definitely is.
And like, you can just move your desk close to a toilet or fridge at any time that you want to.
That's a bonus.
This is my dress code. Am I pants?
Yeah, you can decide your own values and everything. Like that, you don't need to have all these ethics and stuff. Like, at any time, you can stand up, look at yourself in the mirror, and be like, "Go fuck yourself." No one's going to complain. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's just the water cooler talk that sometimes my wife like gets the meds. It's just I'm talking to myself. Not good.
She just comes in one day and you're sitting there talking to a basketball. You're like, "Come on, Wilson, what do we do next?" Dude, that's still preferable to some of the basketballs I talk to at work. So
yeah, that's is like people. Like I never leave my house.
I would do that if I could in a heartbeat. Like definitely.
Yep,
so what sort of what genre do you like to play on those gats, man?
I'm wearing a quicksand shirt. I always loved like when I was a kid, it was metal, always rap and metal, but I always loved metal when I was a kid. And then I've been listening to like hardcore since, like punk rock. It's like punk rock metal crossover.
I'm an 80s kid, so give me an example of what you consider metal, and then I'll compare it to.
So you're an 80s